How's everyone doing tonight? I just setting up the live chat that I realized right when I clicked go live. At 11 p.m. I am on time. I realized that I didn't set up my live chat, so I do have to do that quickly. As always, this is going to be a Q&A. It's a choose your own adventure. We're going to head wherever you guys want to head tonight. I do have a couple topics that I want to cover. Everyone's talking about it, the new Pokemon set. I will also talk about Orlando. Orlando Collecticon was like a week and a half ago now. That was a great time. I was there Sunday. I actually, just before this live stream started, I booked my hotel for New Jersey Collecticon. So Collecticons will be quite a bit of the covered topics. I will talk about the new set. I'm normally not too much of a like breaking news channel. Let's cover this. But 30, 40 videos maybe, scrolling through my home, scrolling through the suggested feed. At least 10 people that I subscribed to, if I had to guess, had the new Rocket set in their titles and their thumbnails and their videos to some extent. So yeah, it's everywhere. It's been covered very extensively. It being nothing. I mean, it being we have like a title, we have like a copyright application, I believe. So that's all we need. That's all we need, and we will take it and we will run with it. That is what we do. Where is my? There's my highlighted chat. Sorry, I'm still slowly getting this highlighted chat going, and then I will test it soon. Johto Giraffe was good. We will be seeing some images that I took. So not vending at Orlando Collecticon. It was a really cool thing to just kind of not that it's the only time. Not that it's the only time I've ever experienced a Collecticon in that fashion, but it's the first time in a long time. I actually have, I don't have them all, but I have a bunch of my old Collecticon things next to me. And actually there's Worlds there too. So what do I collect these days? One things I collect is like experiences. I actually collect the badges. I keep the badges to remember them. Sadly, I wasn't a vendor. All I got was a little a little wristband for the last one. But I want to say, yeah. So I have 2 Orlandos here, VIP, that don't have a date attached to them. I guess one thing you can use to date them is it says Metazoo on it. So you know it's not 2024 because it says Metazoo on it. There's Charlotte, there's Dallas, there's Houston, there's Denver, there's another Dallas. This one just has, so this one has the dates but not the year. I like that they're putting the dates on there now. This one was 2023. So I think the first Collecticon I ever went to, and I don't know why I'd have 2 VIP badges, because I only went to that one myself. I didn't go with my wife. I think this was 2022, though. I think this was the first Collecticon I ever went to, and all I did was walk it. Nick, Old Skool Pokemon, had a table. I think like Pallet Town, Crystal Pokemon, they had tables. And Saturday, the guy that was next to Nick sold really well, and then he didn't even set up Sunday. So there was just a free table right next to Nick, and I'm like, okay, I'll pop a few cards down in there, I guess. So I like semi-vended, but I walked around a bunch. I actually bought into that $1 million box break that Heritage had that weekend 2 years ago at Orlando. Whether that was 2021 or 2022, I'm not positive, but I guess I could look back at my Heritage to see whether that was 2 or 3 years ago. But anyways, it was the first time since that one that I've gone and just walked around. I will cover it. I will show some of my Instagram posts, all the different people I took pictures with. I'll talk about some of the people I didn't take pictures with, but it was a great time. And I guess since it might be quicker, let's do we not have a Poke Beach? Okay, we do have I was gonna say, do we not have a Poke Beach article about this? How could we not? It's already 4 Poke Beach articles ago that this was written. So anyone who's unfamiliar, pokebeach.com. I think everyone who watches this channel probably is familiar with what that is. Thanks, Panga. Have a good night, everyone. Must not be hanging out tonight, but appreciate you stopping in to say hi. So I think this will show the right page. Yeah, let me just get it actually on screen. Sorry for that. So the glory of Team Rocket, maybe I have to, yeah, let me just full screen that and then that'll work. So, the glory of Team Rocket in Terrestrial Festival, set names trademarked for the Pokemon TCG. That's literally all we have, but dark Pokemon, light Pokemon, gym leaders maybe being tied in, Jesse James, Meowth, Wheezing, like all the things that it could be. We've just ran with it. Gen 1ers, shout out to this guy. Shout out to this guy in his comments. His first comments on the Poke Beach post. Gen 1ers going crazy right now. Are they ever? They are absolutely going crazy. The hobby is saved. Scarlet and Violet block is saved. I think people always make those comparisons between eras. Like, XY. I mean, XY did have a Charizard set as their second set. I don't know if you can say XY came out of the gate too slow. But Sun and Moon, the first couple sets, I guess Burning Shadows was fairly early there too. But yeah, like Sword and Shield, Rebel Clash, those earlier sets, Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, that I think is going to turn out, price-wise, it's doing big things for the Scarlet and Violet block right now. But anyways, people have been pointing to, like, when's the next boom going to happen? When's the next Stonk set going to come out? When's the next clear, like, thing going to come out and happen? And this might be it. This might be the one. And I'll be interested to hear. I think a lot of people will wait for 2 years from now, after it's a year old, when it's theoretically like maybe it's a $200 ETB. Or I'm pumping the brakes on that. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case. But if it becomes it, it will have been obvious all along. Just like it's obvious that Evolving Skies is a $700 box. It's obvious that was going to happen because it had to, because Moonbryon. But, no, overall, one of the Danisms that I always say, artists will art. Artists will art. Pokemon will find a way to, and I feel like we make the bar very low for what is required of Pokemon. It's like, I mean, putting all 151 Pokemon in a set and calling it 151 feels like a fairly easy concept to come up with. And they're delivering on it. Artists are arting very good artworks throughout the 151 set. But, I mean, the amount of things that they could do that would cause this much hype. I mean, if they had announced a 251 and it was all of Johto, maybe it was Johto and Kanto, whatever. If they announced Gold Stars, like, there's so many things that they have in their back pocket. As if this is the one and the only thing they could possibly announce that would make us all lose our collective minds. Not a chance. Like, there are many things they could do. This is just the one they did do. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it. I'm a Gen 1er. I have distribution. I will be putting in max allocations for whatever I get, as I have been doing for pretty much every set so far. There's been some like ancillary products that I've not been taking here and there. But one thing that will probably happen between the next several months, like people will probably try to whatever extent they can or feel comfortable, they'll probably try to juice their Pokemon orders for the next couple quarters so that they can get in bigger, get in deeper on that set that's coming around the corner. And like any other set, I'll never stop saying this, there's an amount that they could print that could make that set a dud for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Will they print that much? I have no idea. You have no idea. Your favorite YouTuber has no idea. But in hindsight, we will all know, and it will have been obvious. So that's all I can say on that. I will start. New set, good. 151, bad. No longer new. Yeah, absolutely. Moderner, betterer, for sure. Moderner, betterer definitely applies. Do the Toy Story meme, throwing away 151. Like, I got a new shiny thing to play for. Sorry, Woody. Buzz Lightyear is here, and it is the glory of Team Rocket. So I'm excited for it, but I'm not a big, like, breaking news channel. This is as close as I get, just because it just so happens the time where I'm going live anyways. I'll talk about it for the first 5 or 10 minutes of my thing. If you have any other questions, let me know. Team Rocket set is going to be Gen 2's 151. Get ready for Dark Lugia Gold Star. There you go. We get it. We get it. Dan at night, but chill. Get in. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on that. I'll kind of wrap up the first 10-minute segment of this live stream, and then I'll go into talking a little bit more in depth about Collecticons, both Orlando and then the upcoming little over a month and a half away, New Jersey, that I just booked my hotel for. So let's see. Wait, actually, I don't know what that's in reference to. Any pickups from the con? I didn't buy anything. So let's pivot into talking, because I don't see any. I don't see any. If they ever serialize cards, it's game over. Pokemon will rocket to the moon. That is another thing in their back pocket. Gold stars. I mean, we have the EXs. Why not the gold stars? A 251 set. Evolutions 2.0. Neo Genesis 2.0. Like, there are so many things that they could do. They've got them all on a whiteboard somewhere in Pokemon HQ. And it's just like, it's not time yet. Let that one cook a little bit longer. Let's bring back Team Rocket. Let's bring back Dark Pokemon. That was one of the things on their list. And they're going to that one in lieu of other things at this time. But yeah, if there's a Dark Quaxley, will you buy 100? I will probably buy a bunch of Dark Quaxleys, especially if it's a Dark Quaxley Gold Star, which the market does need. But yeah, so CM wants to know any pickups from the con. I behaved. So originally, way back when I booked, and this can tie into future conversation tonight, looking to hang out maybe around 2 hours, maybe till 1 a.m. Eastern. I'll go, but we'll see where the night takes us. We'll see how the questions are coming in. But my original booking for Orlando Collecticon, rest in peace eBay Vault 2023 to 2024. My original booking, my intent was to not only, but largely, my original intent was to pick up consignments. Rest in peace to that. I was going to be picking up a bunch of consignments in person for the eBay Vault, take them back, ship them to the vault, do my thing with that. eBay Vault is no longer as of last week. So, and we knew that before I went to Orlando. I kept the trip booked. My wife and I, we did Disney. We did Disney for Friday and Saturday, and then we hung out Sunday, and we stayed Sunday night. We did dinner with a bunch of people. And then watch my Rangers win, which sadly the Rangers are no more. Their season is over. They did win that night that I was at dinner. They did stay alive there. I think that was when they actually evened the series up 2-2. Things were looking good leaving Orlando Collecticon for the Rangers, and then they lost the next 2 games. So that is what it is. The Rangers are done. But going back to any pickups from the con, I behaved. I brought 5 cards. Shout out to Ponga. I'll shout out his, I was going to say Slabbed podcast. Shout out Greenie and Oak also for free. Shout out Box Nostalgia though. Shout out Bierski and Ponga. Ponga did let me throw 5 Alt Art PSA 10s that I brought with me that came in a recent submission I had in my backpack. And I'm just like, I know 3 sections worth of people. I'm going to see a little bit of black felt in one of the sections. And I'm going to be able to like wheel and deal and talk my way of getting slabs into somebody's case. And I paid him handsomely. I gave him I don't want to spill the beans on what his consignment rates are if he's not comfortable. Ask Ponga, but I gave him a good percentage for selling. He sold my Gengar Alt Art. He sold my Moonbreon for 1,300 cash. And he sold the Umbreon, the other Moonbreon, the Umbreon V Alt Art. So I think it was like 1,300... 700-ish, 300 something-ish. So I think I did like 2,400 in total sales without having a table or anything. So that was nice. And I bought nothing. I guess we bought a few. We bought a few gifts for the kids. I did. Oh yeah, reminder. I left these behind me so I didn't forget. I did end up with a nice Rock Pokemon T-shirt. I am sporting my Java Akuma shirt as we speak. But yeah, I bought a nice Rock Pokemon shirt. And I also bought a nice Fujisan collectible shirt. So shout out to those 2 dudes. Fujisan Card Shop, Rock Pokemon. Nice to have some more t-shirts to support the fellow buddies in the hobby, their businesses. But so I picked up some shirts. We picked up a few like Lego minifigures one of the booths had. My wife bought for our kids. And shout out to Ernie. Ernie gave me a couple plushes for my kids. Got the Lucario for my son, his favorite Pokemon. Got a Ponyta for my daughter. She's a big fan. We do Pokemon Smile every night before going to bed. We brush their teeth with Pokemon Smile. They get to put little stickers on their picture. They get to wear a little Pokemon hat while they're brushing their teeth. And they're a huge fan. It makes brushing teeth a lot easier. It makes it so we're a lot better with it too because there's a timer tied to it. But yeah, she really just... When she caught Ponyta the other day, a couple weeks ago, on Pokemon Smile, she really seemed to like it. It's a horse that's on fire. She's big into ponies. She's big into like unicorn, things like that. Ponyta fits right there. So I don't know if it's her outright favorite, but she's a fan. So appreciate you, Ernie, for hooking me up with the Lucario. and the Ponyta plushes. I did buy back a couple. I don't have them on hand. I did move them somewhere else. They used to be right over here. But I did buy back a couple more Dan Medizu promos. Stay tuned later in the year. Probably the next 2 or 3 months. There will be an update on that. There will be your first access to some graded Dan Medizu cards. I will be doing something with some of the lower graded Dan Medizu cards too. I don't think I want those out in the wild. I think I only want like highest grade or bust. BGS, I didn't get any black labels. Maybe the pristines will go out. Maybe they won't. I'm not 100% sorted yet. But I'll probably start with CGC pristines and PSA 10s. And we'll see what happens with that. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, no major pickups. No plays. I wasn't looking for gradable singles. I was trying to not look at all. I was trying to just hang out with the homies, have a good time. Let's pivot from that question because I wasn't buying anything. And let's go right into my Instagram post. I probably will have to move this. Yes, I will have to move this. Maybe not if I go full screen. Yes, so I don't as much. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Johto Giraffe. Saw him in chat a little bit ago. Shout out to Ernie, Swami, Thrifty, Fall Guys, me, DNA, Kai. Very, very cool to meet Kai. Great dude. He flew in all the way from Australia. So it was definitely a nice thing to be able to meet him. And then down here below, another long distance traveler, UAP. Very nice to see you too. We got Jake Smith there as well. We got the solo ones with a lot of the people above. We got Zach, Gem at Pokemon there as well. Let me go to the next one. I didn't get everybody in the photos, and I apologize if I missed you. I did my best, but my best was not good enough. It was decent though. So top left, we got Retro, we got Rock Pokemon, we got Jake Smith again, his solo. We got Ernie, his solo. We got Ponga, we got Swami and his solo. Oh, I went entirely through a post. I didn't go to the next photo. Then we got Ray, we got Shining Cards and Collectibles, we got Sterling, Collectibles Warehouse, we got Pokestone, another great guy. We got Brandon, BB, we got Fuji-san, the man of many names himself. And we got Brad G Cards, my number one fan, Brad G Cards. Wonder if he's in the chat tonight. I haven't seen him yet, I don't think. And then we got Gary. We got Gary in front of the obligatory massive Pikachu photo that everyone has to do at Collecticon. So it was great to see everybody. Oh yeah, I missed one. I thought that was the last one, but we do have the entire gang. So we have a few more people that I didn't get solo pictures with. We got Colson over there. We got Swag Daddy. We got and then Legend of Luke. And I apologize, Rock Pokemon. This is Rock Pokemon's tattooed arm right there. Instagram did not want Rock in this group photo. He was there. That is his arm right there. But he was cropped out of that unintentionally by me. The way that Instagram like suggests you crop it, I just completely missed it. It's like, oh hey, there's someone that is not Luke's other arm. That is Rock's right arm, and his entire body has been cropped out. So sorry for that. But I'm glad I did get the solo ones with you. But yeah, that is all the Instagram photos. That's pretty much all the photos that I took. I took those photos with the people as I saw them, primarily 3 sections. So probably 80% of my time while I was at Collecticon on Sunday was spent just like inside of various booths, talking with Kai, talking with Retro, talking with Ponga, talking with whoever for a long time. I did run into Bierski. I did run into Josh, the Green Shiz. They left fairly early, so I got to see them, shake their hands, say hi, talk to them a little bit, but I did not get pictures with them, which I'm a little bit bummed about, so I will have to get that next time around. New Jersey, I'll be doing kind of similar. So New Jersey, I just booked, I'm actually staying at the recommended hotel with my family. Let me, before I go to New Jersey, since I just wrapped up Orlando, I guess I wrapped up the convention. I will talk a little bit about Sunday night, but before I talk about New Jersey, let me see if anyone's talking about Orlando Collecticon in the chat. Any questions relative to that? I missed Punctual Dan. I was on time. I clicked go live at 11. That is my threshold for being on time. As long as I click go live at 11, it might not end up actually live till 11:01, but I count it. While millionaires pinching pennies using other stables. Oh man, let's see. Men got cut out of a group pick like an ex. Yeah, apologies. Apologies, Rock Pokemon. Gave Rock the greenie treatment. It always happens to someone, I think. It always happens to someone. Jake Smith, I think, was the one that was there on Instagram. So like 30 minutes after I posted my post in my story with Rock cropped out, Jake Smith was there to save the day with like, hey, here's the original. Rock was actually there. Yeah. There's my number one fan. Always ready to catch me slipping. Always ready to pounce. Show the mirror shirtless selfies. Coward. Oh, man. Dan, show the promo you bought. I don't have it with me, actually. I moved in one box. I have all the promos I bought back, all the promos I've not yet graded, not yet mutilated in some way, either with a laser cutting or either with my corporate seal. I put them inside one of my safes because it's like, this is investment quality cardboard we're talking about. I've heard the price will only go up, so for me to just have it on my bookshelf next to me seemed irresponsible. I had to put such a high quality investment piece away in one of my safes. So I should have gotten a graded promo for being the largest shill of your service in Scandinavia. The only people that had the pleasure of getting a free promo on the house were the poor unfortunate souls who happened to buy from me during a MetaZoo live stream. So I can't go and be giving free ones out here and there. I gave them to like... It was like reparations for having bought into my MetaZoo live break. I appreciate you having supported me, so here's some reparations. Here's a promo that I'll buy back from you for a price that will only go up as long as I'm around. So I don't want to devalue that by giving it to just random people who didn't go through that hardship to earn it. A lot of good-looking folks there. Yeah, very much so. Hopefully I can get a picture with the Legend Pokemon Classics himself again at some point. Let's see. I almost forgot about the zoo. Maybe, like he ain't about to peddle those PSA 7 promos. Oh, man. This man refused to let MetaZoo die. It will always live on. I want a PSA 3 Dan promo. I don't think any went that low. I think my lowest is like a... I don't think I have PSA 7s. It's all on my website, so I do have a portion of my website that tracks. I actually updated that. I overhauled my website some. I still need to overhaul my affiliate links. I want to throw in pictures for all the items. But yeah, I did do... Let's see if this shows up on screen. So the Dan promo tracker, it has its own tab on my website. And if I make this bigger... you can see that there have been 5 bought back in entirety. 2 that were just bought back in Orlando. But here's the graded quantity breakdown, 10 PSA 10s. So 1 PSA 6 is the worst PSA grade. There's 1 CGC 8.5. And then the lowest grade at Beckett. Why do I have 9.5 listed twice? I think it should be 9.5 and then 9, so I do need to fix that. There's an error. But yeah, the breakdown of how many are still sealed in bricks, the breakdown of how many were seal and printed with my corporate seal, the breakdown of what they were sold at, all that stuff. For the 1, maybe 0 people who care about it, that all can be found on my website. It has its own tab called Dan Promos, so those are there. That has been updated. Let me see if I'm caught up on everything. Whoa, when did theater mode leave the chat to the side? YouTube stepping it up. I think you can change your default. I think you can set it so it comes up below or above, depending on how big your screen is, what the resolution of your screen is. I think it might default a different way, but I'm not positive. Need 1 piece of random financial advice before you move on. Tax advice, pay your taxes. Financial advice, spend less than you earn. Invest the rest. Those are my 2 pieces of obligatory tax and financial advice. How do you submit cards to PSA at their on-site booth? So I don't think I've ever been at an event where PSA was... Maybe I have. I was going to say, I know BGS takes submissions, and I've done like the graded card review, but I guess this is relevant. I think you're talking about Card Party. They're going to be taking submissions, so I have always been of the mind, like, shipping is so cheap. Through my business insurance, it's fully insured. It is such an unattractive thing to drop cards off in person for me, because like maybe if there was a con down the street, maybe if I was driving to it, I could see it a little bit, but still, like, I don't want to wait in a line. If PSA set up at a convention 30-minute drive from me, I would probably still mail them in because they're fully insured. USPS does a good job overall. And I just don't want to wait in a line. I don't want to wait in a line. There's likely going to be a line at those things pretty much the whole duration of the con. So I've never done it. I don't know how to do it. I'd imagine there's probably like a special submission form for it, or like if I were to try to do it, I'd probably just do a full submission online. Don't they have a thing where it says like ship in. Maybe I'm thinking of CGC. I think CGC might have a specific thing that says like show drop off, and then you select the show that you're dropping them off at. Presumably, you print out the submission form relevant for the show that you're going to. But maybe PSA has that on the website. Maybe they don't. I'm not sure. But I would go through a test submission on PSA's website and say that you have 10 Celebration Charizards, and then just see what the options are. See if there's a card show drop off option, and then maybe they list like, yeah, you click that one, and then maybe they list the next 10 shows they're at. I think one of the companies does that. It might be CGC. But will you be signing autographs at New Jersey Collecticon? It will be my first Collecticon, and I need you to sign my lawnmower. Absolutely. I usually get at least 1 or 2 signature requests, and I sometimes I've brought like a playmat before, and instead of getting a picture with everyone, I've just like had everyone sign my playmat. I've done different things like that, but yeah, if you want your lawnmower signed, as long as you can get that thing through security, or meet me on the outside if you roll up on your lawnmower, I can absolutely sign that. That's gonna be a generational piece for sure. Look at this dude, thought his team stood a chance against the state of Florida. Thoughts on Japanese Pokemon news of Lost Abyss and Paradigm Trigger getting reprints? Is Paradigm Trigger Silver Tempest and then Lost Abyss is Lost Origin? I don't have massive thoughts on that. I don't have much of either. I think I might have 50, 60 boxes of Paradigm Trigger that I got a while ago. I think they might still be sending them at Troll and Toad Evo. I could be mixing it up with a different set, but I'm pretty sure it's Paradigm Trigger. Yeah, I'm not sure though. I don't have any drastic thoughts on that. If it is Silver Tempest and Lost Origin, it's not hugely surprising, given those sets are less than 2 years old, and historically speaking, sets are in print for about 2 years. How we doing tonight? Nice to see you. Did you optimize your spending at Disney? Not really. A lot of money left the old wallet there. They that mouse knows how to extract money. My goal as a business is to extract money, right? I mean, ideally in a high morality, high legal, moral, all the good stuff, in checking all those boxes. And the mouse does it that way too. But he's pretty ruthless. He's pretty ruthless. You buy a $150 ticket, and you gotta buy the $25 Fast Pass, because if you don't, you're gonna spend your $150 ticket waiting in 3 lines to ride 3 rides. If you buy the $30, $25 add-on, then you get to at least ride like 7 or 8 rides instead of 3. And then there's 1 or 2 rides in each park that the $25 thing doesn't cover. You have to pay an extra 15 or 20 bucks to ride. So that mouse has got monetization down. I mean, nothing immoral, nothing unethical, nothing illegal about it. But he's definitely taking money extraction to the next level for sure. I don't remember how much the Umbreon V was exactly. 350-ish maybe, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be remembering incorrectly. I did not buy the life-size Lucario, and that was not what I got from Ernie either. Dan-sized plushies would be scary. My Snorlax is pretty big, but he's not Dan-sized. How do you ship your PWE orders? Does non-machinable versus not matter? So I use card savers. Card savers are thinner than top loaders, but even top loaders, you will run into certain workers. It's just like PSA. Consistently inconsistent. You will run into certain individuals at the post office that take your top loader, take your card savered plain white envelope, and they say this is good to go. And then you will run into some people, oh, this is too thick, this is too rigid, it can't go through the machines, you have to pay an extra 19, 25, whatever cents it is for non-machinable. I've never done that. If you have a clerk that says, just put it in the box, put it in a different box, go to a different, some people just don't know how to do their jobs. Some people are incompetent at their jobs, and if you get a clerk, if your local post office doesn't understand it, that just sucks. Try to talk them into it. Try to show them. I don't know what to do, but I promise you, many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of top loaders and semi-rigids are sent in machinable envelopes all the time, and they get through perfectly fine. You'll never know when Pokemon's going to reprint. At least you'll lower your cost average when you buy some. I think that's talking about the Lost Abyss and Paradigm Trigger. I think I'm almost caught up, and then I'll go on a little bit of a New Jersey thing. No, I'm not almost caught up, but I'll keep going here. I dream for you to come to Chicago. I will be going to Chicago, unless you were talking to someone else. Oh, Cheval's. I dream for Cheval's to go to Chicago too, because I will be going, and it would be nice to see him again. I did. Where did I see you, Cheval's? Was it Denver? I believe it was Denver. Dan, how tall is your office? Taller than me. I don't have to duck anywhere, which is nice. I have standard size doors, standard size ceilings, so I'm all good there. Investment. I don't know what we're talking about on that one. Maybe the Team Rocket set. Oh, you already have one signed by me, but you need plastic. Okay. It might be a feeding frenzy. There might be 2 or even 3 people competing for that auction when it goes up. And I will do it via auction. I'm not going to set the price. So what I'll do with the Dan promos, and I do have the graded ones are right there. So I don't have the raw ones with me anymore. I think it's covered up by the chat at least. Yeah, right up there by that creepy UC guy. I'm going to let the market decide what they're worth. I will only buy them back for 25 bucks. Whatever the market does, whatever premium is added, I will not guarantee people paying a graded premium will make money. If you buy from me on eBay, $24.99 I buy back for $25, $19.99 I buy back for $20. I guarantee that everyone buying from me directly raw will make money. But if you buy secondary market, if you buy graded premium, I cannot guarantee you'll make money on that. I will give all those disclaimers. Hey, you got hosed and lost your money on Zoo. Here's a free piece of Dan cardboard. Oh, hit the like button. Appreciate you, Retro. Damn promo tracker. You love to see it. Who else sold the promo back to me in Orlando? So instead of defacing his, which that's something I'm going to do moving ahead. So I can never lower the buyback price, but any defaced promos here on out will only be bought back for 25. As of today, non-defaced ones are also bought back for 25. But non-defaced promos will go up from 25. Defaced promos will stay stagnant. I did have another person sell it back. It was Jake Smith, and he lovingly signed his. Nice little heart, Jake Smith, whatever he wrote on it. I actually asked him to sign it. He was going to sell it back to me just as is, but I asked him to sign it. Brad defaced his heavily before he sold it back, but he still made money. He made money. He damaged a MetaZoo promo, and he made 20% on his money. So great buy. Great flip, Brad. 20% when everything else is down 90%. Finished the last day of school today. Summer adventures incoming. That's awesome. Still 3 more weeks of school for us here in upstate New York. When Rocket set drop, I will start collecting. If you downloaded the Dan promo spreadsheet, please leave the hobby peacefully. Oh man. Let's see. Anyone in the chat going to card party? Are you going classics? That'll be a good one. I'm not going personally. I did just go to Orlando, 2 weeks in between. So does that mean is card party this weekend then? Card party 2. Is it this weekend or next weekend? June 14th to 16th. So next weekend. So maybe it's 3 weeks in between. Is PSA asking for SSN and not taking liability on lost cards offer no competition at all? PSA will still get a lot of business. People do not read fine print. I did see, I think it was James posting the fine print in Discord somewhere. PSA, I don't think they said outright that they will ask everyone for their social security number, but if I had to guess, I think the same way eBay, same way like PayPal, different companies, if you start selling over a certain amount, they might ask for that. As a consigner, I do not ask for that. As a consigner, James does not ask for that. Why they're going and taking that step of doing that, I'm not entirely sure. Why eBay does it? Because they have to 1099 me. PSA, I would be surprised if they were issuing 1099s, but that would be I would be bearish on the I guess I would be bearish on the quantity of cards that would be being sold to them if they were asking for people's social security numbers. I'm not advocating for anything, but I know that a lot of people use consignment services because no government documents are generated. If they have your SSN, there is the thought that there would be risk of that government document being generated, and that would scare some people away. Not everybody, but some people. Yeah, definitely enjoy the summer. Glory of Team Rocket will be available for purchase on Dan Ketchum eBay fulfillment from Giovanni directly. Absolutely. Waiting in line is definitely a big bag for sure. How's it going, Brody? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Tom. MC, I did get the sets right. That was surprising for me to get 2 Japanese sets right. Invest in Pokemon. What do you like better, barbecue or Pokemon? I would not want to give up either. I don't think I'll ever have to give up either. So thankfully I don't have to choose, but I would say Pokemon. And maybe 10, 20 years from now, it will be different. Maybe, but I was going to say, like, I gave up my job. I turned Pokemon into my job. Maybe someday I'll turn barbecue into my job too. Maybe that will be a future reality for me. I don't know yet, but as of today, it's like, actually Pokemon Go. Just recently, my son, yesterday I killed the Ender Dragon in Minecraft, finally. So I got into Minecraft like several months ago because my son was watching stuff on YouTube. And I started an account, I played with him, he gave up playing his, but I'm like, I'm gonna see this thing through, I'm gonna beat it. So he'd occasionally watch me, and at one point he just got to where, like, tell me when you're at the Ender Dragon. I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, I'd rather watch these people on YouTube. And he went on from that to Plants vs. Zombies. That lasted 2 weeks, and somehow he's on Pokemon Go now. I dusted off the old Pokemon Go account. My wife has it on her phone now. He has his own account. Team Instinct all the way. But I'm looking forward to playing Pokemon Go a little bit more now with him. The game is definitely not for me. I had my time with it. I did all the things. I did all the raids. I had a little, like, community in the town, in the city that I worked in. I used to meet up with some people in various Discords. We used to talk about, there's a raid popping here, there's a raid popping there. We had all the trackers, we had all the stuff. I'm like past that on my own, but my son's gonna bring me right back into it. Not as in depth as I was, just given his age. Like, I kind of need to be the one to, like, lead the charge. If he was 16 and asking me to, like, hop in and let's go ride to a raid, like, I would be doing that. But when we go to New Jersey, when we go to the American Dream Mall to go to the Lego place and to go to the Nickelodeon Park, and when we go to Sesame Place, like, these are the places that we're going to be going in a month and a half when we go to New Jersey, along with Collecticon. We'll probably... I told them, we need to live in the real world, and we need to experience the real world, but we can also... When we're sitting down to eat, have a bite to eat, we can open Pokemon Go, we can do a raid, do a gym battle, we can catch some Pokemon, we can have some fun with it. But yeah, it was just funny how long I was stuck playing Minecraft on my own, because it's like I was getting into it. He pulled me into it. I dove in deeper than he cared to go. I had to slay the Ender Dragon. Like, I had to do that for myself. I did it. If he ever gets into a game like RuneScape, if he ever gets into a game that has, in Minecraft, you can go on and on. Like, there doesn't have to be a fixed end. But if he ever gets into a game that just, like, has no end to it, I'm gonna be in trouble, like RuneScape that I'm into myself. But yeah, that led to a whole big rant and ramble there. This question of barbecue and Pokemon. Maybe someday I'll do barbecue full time. But as of right now, barbecue is a hobby. Pokemon is my job and a hobby and a passion. And playing Pokemon Go again, excited for that. Not gonna be crazy with it. But if you play Pokemon Go, maybe I'll just post on Instagram. At some point, I'll post mine and my son's trainer codes on Instagram so that we can become friends. And I probably will be on every day, doing a couple of the dailies, not getting crazy with it, but, like, sending a gift to my son so that we can become best friends, so that I can trade him some good gym battlers and stuff. And I didn't expect to be talking about Minecraft and Pokemon, but it just fit in well there somehow. Let's see. Can you invest in barbecue? One of these days. Buying a food truck, maybe. In the case of a consignor becoming entirely unresponsive while you hold one of their cards, how would you proceed? Short, medium, and long term? That's actually a great question, and that's a question that I'm likely going to be faced with very soon. So shout out to ZNG Emporium, formerly the US branch of Graded Gem. He's mentioned multiple times, relatively recently too, he still has several boxes from Graded Gem, entirely paid for. I think, like, Nat Turner had talked about PSA having some amount of submissions that were not paid for. legally somewhere in their fine print. He took ownership of it. They sold it on their eBay. I do have the PSA eBay pulled up in case we want to talk about that, show that. That's there. I guess let me get it centered for in case we do talk about it. But I do not have any fine print where I say if you XYZ if you don't reply. But I already have some consigners that I send out an email saying, hey, your stuff's coming back from the vault. And this has only been less than a year. This has been 7 to 10 months. There are 1 or 2 people that have 1 or 2 cards and they've just completely no idea. Like maybe they'll reply. Maybe they'll reply once I say like, hey, the card is in hand, ready to ship. Let me know where to send it. But for almost everybody, I have their address. I don't want to just send something into the void. In a year's worth of time, it's reasonable that like people might have already moved. I don't want to ship something into the void and have it go missing, have someone who lives there now take it, throw it away, sell it, whatever. So I need confirmation before I ship your stuff back to you that you are aware it's coming and that I have your current address. So short term, I will just put it in my calendar, like 6 months from now. I'll just say like, hey, ping X, Y, and Z if I still have their cards by then. And I'll do it, and then I'll do it again. 5, 10, 20, 30 years. It's so hard to say. I'm hoping that won't be a thing, but it definitely could be. Given that I'm working with a sub 1 year time frame, whereas James was dealing with like over 2 years, I think it's more likely that I'll be fine and I'll get a hold of everybody. But yeah, if that ever happens, that's why I want your address. That's why I want your email. Like I'm not taking your social, but at some point, I don't know. If it's like actually a funny thing that I can tie back into Orlando Collecticon. So while I was at Orlando, got to meet Kai, as I talked about. Kai asked me randomly, he's like, here's a picture of a card that he showed me. The card looked not familiar whatsoever. So he accidentally sent me, because I have consigned some cards of his over the past several months, past year. He randomly accidentally sent a PSA return to me, I think it was, or whether it was a PSA return or a middleman return or whatever. It came in, I opened it, and I didn't know what it was. There was nothing inside. I always ask people to put your name, put your contact information, put something inside, please. But I have a box next to me, and I don't want to show what's in the box, but I have a box next to me. As of today, it's an ETB. So the box has a big question mark on it, and as of right now, I see there are 5 graded cards in it. I have no idea whose they are. I have no idea what they are. There's a chance that I bought them and I forgot it. There's a chance that they're like a gift that I forgot I was getting from someone somehow. But like nothing was inside of it. There's always a return address on there. But one problem that I have, sometimes I get 20 packages and I tear through them all. And then I like go through the stuff later and it's like, I don't even know what the address was. Sometimes the address is just like PSA. Well, it doesn't match to any of my orders, so it's not mine. Must be a consigner. I don't know who though. Like I don't want to list it and sell it because I don't even know who I have to pay. So I just wait for people to reach out to me. I can't really do like, oh hey, I found a wallet and it's full of $1,000. Whose was it? You have 100 people. I can't say like, hey, here's this graded card. Did you send it to me? I guess I could do like, hey, I have a random, I know one of them's a Magikarp. So I have a graded Magikarp of some kind. If you can tell me the grade, I mean, ideally the cert number. If you can tell me what one it is, the grade, the grading company, the cert number, it's like, I'll be pretty sure it's yours. Like, tell me when you sent it to me, why you sent it to me, how it got to me, and then I'll send it to you. Let me know where to send it. But as long as it stays only the size of an ETB, it's pretty easy to just keep it. But yeah, Kai showed me a picture, and he's like, I accidentally sent this to you several months ago. It was in that box. When I came back home, I looked in the box, and I'm like, this is the card. This is the card. This is Kai's. I just shipped it to him this morning or yesterday morning, actually. So, yeah, that's my, like, tentative plan. Once you get beyond 5-10 years, like, there's probably certain laws. There's probably, like, I don't know. I hope I never face it. But as of today, that's my plan. If I overfill an ETB, I'll move up into like a 1,000 count cardboard. Right next to it, I have like cards to process, cards to pre-grade. I'll move into one of those. And then if it outfit, like I'm not going to get to where it's like 5 totes worth of stuff. I'm not going to get to where it's that size. I'll find a way to contact people. But yeah, that's, I mean, a little bit of like internet sleuthing. If I have their name, If it is a consigner and I have their name and their state and their city, a little bit of internet sleuthing, maybe a little bit of Facebook sleuthing, Instagram, like I might be able to find them. And even if they're not using that email, even if they're not using that Discord anymore, I might find them somehow. So that's my thoughts on it. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't come up. But let me scroll back up. Let me actually stay current with the chat for a second, because I see people talking about like Pokemon Go. Where are we? I would legally have to report you if you drag your child into RuneScape. LMAO. Get son a 4090 and give him a copy of Call of Duty. Those are mine, Dan. Give them back. Must be talking about my lost slabs. Come experience the real world in Minnesota, Mall of America, fishing, camping, cards with Pokemon Classics. Absolutely. Someday. My wife and I have a lifelong goal of hitting all 50 states. Minnesota is obviously included in that. So at some point, I will hit you up, Pokemon Classics, when we're passing through. Pogo, I'm playing Battle Frontier. Team Instinct for sure, number 1. Tom B is not a fan. Dad, remember this Pokemon palette? I got a better one this time, Meat palette. Oh man, that's funny. Funny you say that. Like I actually have, so my dad does work for a guy. He's made a bunch of like equipment, stainless steel, shelving and stuff like that. One of the like local farmers that my dad works on his farm equipment, and that guy actually ages cheese. Like he has a business. Well, he has a farm. He has a bunch of dairy cows. He has a bunch of milk. He actually makes Gouda cheese and ages it like 5, 10, however many years it is. I don't remember the entire process, but so he has the cooler. He has all the infrastructure built for that. My dad built a lot of the equipment out of like stainless steel and but that guy actually like invests in cheese. So not meat, but cheese is like, it's up there in like the holy trinity of foods. I mean, meat, cheese, and bread, that's all you need. So maybe not meat investing, but maybe cheese investing. I mean, my dad has access to a guy who has all the facilities to produce it, all the facilities to store it. So we have a leg up on the competition. We have all the advantages there. PK was pumped for a Team Rocket set. Are you, Dan? I'm always pumped for the next set. I am very excited when Gen 1 stuff comes up, but I'm not someone who like poo-poos on stuff that's not for me. Like the ancient, the future, all these things, like they're not really made for me. They don't excite me as much as Gen 1 stuff does. They don't excite me as much as Team Rocket does, 151 does. But I don't yuck people's yums, right? I know they're not made for me. We need to keep the next generation coming into this. We need to get the young people in and hooked and all that stuff. So I'm all for it. But I'm excited when a set is more like in my wheelhouse too. So let's see. I feel like we gotta have some comments on cheese investing, but maybe not. There's a chance I forgot 5 slabs that were gifts. I'm that popular. I have done several. Like I used to do E4 Secret Santa, probably from 2014 to 2022 or something. And then I've done and I will do other Secret Santas too. So I don't think it's any of those, but like it could be. I genuinely don't know. There are slabs over there. I think Kai's was not super expensive, maybe a couple $100. There's a slab in there that's $500. There's a couple slabs in there that are $25. I genuinely have no idea what they are. So every few months I might look and like try to jog my memory, search my email for this Pokemon, this card. I don't know what they are. No idea. Dan eats people's meals at restaurants when they get up to use the washroom. Doesn't everyone? Never have done that. I can say that. Quilly, how do I submit to PSA at a show? Dan, I would never submit to PSA at a show. I don't want to wait in line. I don't think that was Quilly. Wasn't that E-Unit? Maybe it was Quilly though too. I don't know. I do miss from StreamYard. So in StreamYard, I could star questions. Now that I'm on my own OBS, now that I just have the popped out chat, I don't have that feature in this one, so I can't star stuff. I cannot star stuff, which is a thing that I'm missing. Yellow, literally the worst color. So Brad was Team Mystic. I do not consign post-workout underwear. Those are not the types of products that I'm into right now. Maybe Z&G Emporium. Hit him up with that request. Maybe he does. I'm not entirely sure of what his offerings will be once he gets to the other side of his reopening in Indianapolis. Yellow equals Zapdos, therefore the best. That was my line of thinking that got me there too. Yellow team, Dan is definitely a Hufflepuff. Oh man, that's hilarious. Cheese investments talk about a dream come true. I know a guy that knows a guy. Dan on cheese. Dan would invest in craft singles. So this guy ages Gouda specifically. He actually makes he makes like cheese curds and stuff like that too. He's got milks, chocolate milks, like he's got all kinds of stuff. And then a lot of his kids are in the farming business too. They're at the ages that they have their own farms now. So he's got a lot of different things going on. So let me scroll all the way back up and make sure I didn't miss anything else. I will start talking about Jersey a little bit. So I booked from Thursday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Thursday through Monday, I booked 4 nights at the recommended hotel. The recommended hotel for New Jersey Collecticon is kind of unfortunate with respect to like Orlando. It was physically connected. You may have had to walk 3/4 of a mile, but it was all physically connected in two massively long buildings. You were connected to the convention center. So that was probably the length of like 4 or 5 blocks that you walked within 2 buildings. In New Jersey, not only is it not walkable, it's a 15-minute drive. I think once you're in a car anyways, like whether it's a 5-minute drive or a 15-minute drive, to me it's not like a massive difference. It's like you gotta call an Uber, you gotta have a car, you gotta whatever anyways. So once you like set the hurdle of like there's a car, there's a difference between 5 minutes and 45 minutes, certainly. But 5 or 15, it's like, whatever. So I just went with the recommended hotel. The block was actually sold out. So PK, actually I was texting with him. I think he's booking for Friday and Saturday night. He's going to do the convention. I think he called and he said that they told him the block was sold out. The rates were reasonable anyways, though. I think all in $700 for 4 nights. So I'm in at like $175 a night. Pretty reasonable to me. A lot of the recommended hotels are frequently like 200 plus, 200 plus. To me, $175 a night felt reasonable. That's all in, taxes, everything. But we're gonna get there Thursday. On the way in, we're gonna do the Crayola factory in Pennsylvania. We are going to, pending weather, we want to hit up the American Dream Mall. We want to do the Nickelodeon. We want to do like the Lego stuff in there. We also want to do Collecticon one of the days, Saturday or Sunday. I think Sunday probably, pending weather. And we also want to do Sesame Place. So Sesame Place is like a little amusement park, obviously Sesame Street themed. So it's funny. You look on a map. If you like draw a triangle around the hotel, it's like relatively perfectly centered. It's well centered to the 3 places that we're going. So my wife is just like, well, why don't you just book the recommended hotel? Depending on what night we get in, I mean, kids are going to be going to bed probably 8 o'clock, whatever. I might be able to hang out some. Late night, trade night, whatever. Probably not going out and getting crazy, closing down bars and stuff, but hanging out in the trade areas, hanging out in the hotel lobbies, whatever, here and there. I'll definitely be running across people throughout the weekend, which will be cool. I know not everybody is staying at the recommended hotel. I think some people were doing like, oh, this place is only a 5-minute drive, a little bit cheaper, whatever. But I opted to go for the recommended hotel for that reason. Let me, scroll. I'm in the chat where I'm 30 minutes behind, but I've also done a lot of the chat below. Nice thing about what I have, I can't star things, but it does highlight what I've already put up on screen, so I won't lose my place, which is nice. It will jump to the bottom, but I won't lose my place. So yeah, New Jersey, I'm really excited. It's gonna be a great family trip. Son and daughter are coming. My wife is coming. So when I'm at the convention, I'll probably give the kids like a little budget. I'm not going to send them on the trade up challenge. I'm going to just give them some money. Like, hey, if you see a number 10 on a card, that means they're asking $10 for it. Try to talk them down a little bit. Like, don't try to trade a dollar card into a $10 card. but also like don't just pay sticker without asking. You got to shoot your shot. So I'm gonna teach him that a little bit. Where are we? You can invest in the animal before it turns into barbecue. Yeah, definitely. Classics might be going to Collecticon Chicago, which I will be going to, definitely. Yeah, Brad, you definitely ruined it. I'm going to be $25 is all the defaced promos we'll get. I'm assuming most people deface the promos right before they sell them to me. But if you're already sitting on some defaced ones, you're stuck at $25. Where can I see a picture of the damn promo? Yeah, you obviously can't see those ones up there. It's literally, I mean, look on eBay. I think someone, look up Catch 'em All Collectibles, eBay. I could pull that down, but the reflections are going to be terrible. Let's see, Catch 'em All Collectibles promo. I'm assuming like PK, someone probably has a meme listing up. So who is this? Brad G Cards has a Dan promo up, the laser cut Dan Metazoo promo. He has sold out written in the description, or in the title. That's funny. So yeah, there's one on eBay you can check out. You don't want a Dan promo, it's just as exciting as the person. He ain't wrong. Denver was very cool. Chevals. Collecticon Chicago is going to be a big one for sure. New Jersey's pretty big too, I think. No matter what one you go to, even if you go to the meme Kansas City, you will see several people that kind of like run in our circles. And then you'll see tons of other people too. Like there are a lot of different communities. There's obviously a lot of different people out there. You'll see a lot of the usual. You'll see a lot of local people too. If you're vending, ask people where they're from. A lot of people are from the local area. Not surprisingly, the general Collecticon attendees don't fly to them. I mean, the vast majority of people are like local that just go in. They do a great job with the convention. Great job advertising it. Great job pumping those numbers. No, I still have the promo. I don't get rid of any of the promos. Do I prefer to vend or spend at Collecticon? I like vending, but it's also cool not vending too. Like I had a great time either way. New Jersey. So Orlando, I didn't vend. New Jersey, I'm not vending. And Charlotte and Chicago, I'm vending. So Charlotte tables actually go on sale this Friday. So stay tuned, everybody. Be ready, I guess. I will be booking my section. Everyone else needs to be ready to book theirs. I might grade my One Piece PSA promo if it's gradable. Maybe I'll just leave the magazine sealed. What microphone are you using? I have a Blue Yeti. Shout out Swami, by the way, talking about Denver. Absolutely. I did shout him out. I got a picture with the legend himself in Orlando, which was cool. At what point does it make sense to make an LLC for Pokemon, or should I start one even as a very small Pokemon reseller? I think LLCs are one of the most common things that people jump into, having no idea what it means, having no idea why. If you have a tax professional or a business professional of some kind that recommends you get an LLC, I would not advise you against their advice. Take their advice. But I would not tell anyone to not get one. But question why you're getting one and make sure it's a valid reason. I became an LLC to immediately opt for an S election to become an S corporation so that I could legally, through tax avoidance, not through tax evasion, pay less in taxes. So I pay less in taxes through the use of an S corporation, as many businesses do. So if you have the ability to make like that kind of a play, I guess, absolutely take advantage of the loopholes that are there. But most people create an LLC because they think they need one to get into distribution. They think they need one. Maybe in certain states you do have to be an LLC to get your resale certificate. In New York, you do not. You do not need an LLC to get a certificate of authority. You can do it as a sole proprietorship. So a little bit of obligatory tax talk we got in there. How's my crusade going against the whole Yu-Gi-Oh community because of my consignment? Definitely not on a crusade. Definitely feels like there's some people on a crusade against those cards. It is what it is. I will sell through my consignments anything that is CGC, BGS, PSA authenticated. If SGC as well, I will not take XYZ grading company. I will not take EMA grading company. I pretty much go with the top ones in the industry, and I don't put myself on a pedestal above them. I do not. If they have an authenticated card that they had raw and they do all this investigation and do all this research and they do all these analytical XRF tests, I'm not going to overrule that. I'm not like too high and mighty to this card that this company has certified is faked. If they deactivate it, now that's a different story. If they deactivate a card and they say that we screwed up, we have new information, we screwed up, send us the card back, I would send the card back to the consigner and then let them deal with that. I'm not going to like send a consigner's card back to the grading card company. I'm going to let them handle that. So, yeah, that's my take on all that. How much would you charge customers to physically touch a widget? Oh man, I need to read the questions before I read the whole thing. Dan, Minecraft server when? Probably never. I feel like I want to do a couple more things to wrap up my my stay in the Minecraft world, but I'm pretty satisfied having taken down the Ender Dragon. Which has the better long-term value, a case of Paldea Evolved or a single box of Evolving Skies? They are a similar price. I would go with a case of Paldea Evolved. I think that will win on 2-year, 5-year, 10-year. I could be wrong, but that's my take on it. I think a lot of sets, they end up getting up there. They plateau for a long time. Say Evolving Skies does a team up. Say it goes from 700 to 1,000 to 2,000. That's tripling from where it's at. I think Paldea Evolved will reasonably be able to go to like, well, a $400 box, that is kind of high. There is a reality where Evolving Skies, as crazy as it sounds, it could be a $2,000 box, while Paldea Evolved is not yet $400. One main reason I say that, they could print the hell out of Paldea Evolved next year. For the next 2 years, they could print it to the ground, and it could be $70, and it could be like, we don't know. We still don't know the full story of Evolving Skies. They are reprinting it. A lot of loose packs put into collection boxes and things like that. Will they ever touch the boxes again? Probably not, but we don't know for certain, but probably not. So that's my take on that. I would lean towards case of Paldea Evolved, but you never know. You never know. Jackson with the tax advice in there too, helping me out. When pallet hits 100K, then barbecue. I like it. I like it. Use the proceeds, use the profits from the pallet to buy the food truck. I really like that. I bought a barbecue food truck with Pokemon. Did you and Nick discuss more about him wanting to stream full-time and outsource the rest? He wants to be his own business. He wants to be his own boss. He does not want to just work for someone else. We did talk about it a little bit, but I was quite certain that there would be not very likely that I would be adding Old Skool Pokemon to the 1099 streamer list. So John posted something and then retracted it, but Mr. Walrus did read it, so exposed. We got Team Valor, so we have all the teams represented in here. Instinct, Valor, and Mystic. If you have a Pokemon collection, 40K worth, all this stuff you can't really get anymore, all premium stuff like Cosmic and Evo stuff, you have 40K debt, sell and pay off, or keep and not hurting for the money. What is the 40K in debt? Not all debt is created equal. Is it? So my mortgage on this house was 3%. Like a dummy, I paid it off early, and I no longer have that cheap, sweet tax-deductible debt. Tax-deductible only if you don't take the standard deduction, which most people do. So for most people, mortgages aren't tax-deductible, actually. But anyways, if I had sweet 15-year, 3% mortgage debt, I would not be so keen on like selling a lot of stuff, realizing gains, paying 30-40% in taxes to just pay off a 3% mortgage. But if that's 30% death credit card debt, borrowing from Caleb Hammer there, it's been a long time since I've watched one of his videos, but death credit card debt. So if you have 40K in stuff, part of the problem is that you won't be able to sell it and end up with 40K. Fees, taxes, shipping, yada, yada, yada. But then also, say it's 40K after fees and shipping. taxes. It's like, was your original cost basis 20 grand? Well, now you have a 20K profit. Now you have to pay taxes on 20K in gains, depending on what you make in your day job, blah, blah, blah. You might be paying 50% on that. You might only get 10K of that, having 30K all said and done. You might only pay 10% on that. You might pay none on that if you make little enough money and whatever other your tax situation is. So, but if you have credit card debt, for the reasons I stated, I wouldn't necessarily just wholesale. Like, I would consider taxes, but I would sell a lot of it and I would start paying off those credit cards. Like, please do not invest in Pokemon. Like, I mean, do whatever you're going to do, but if you're investing in Pokemon with 30% credit card debt, you need the Pokemon to go up 30%. You need the Pokemon to go up 40%, 50%, so that you can sell it, pay the fees, pay the shipping, and then you can pay the taxes on the gains so that you can overcome that 30%. So not only do you need your Pokemon to go up 30% to match the interest rate that you're paying on your debt, you need it to go up like 50% more than that so you can cover all the taxes and fees and stuff. But if it's student loan debt that's super cheap, if it's debt that's sub 5%, depending on what number you want to set, like, everyone's different. That's where my mind goes. Yeah, what's the debt consist of is very irrelevant. Just credit card debt. So if you're like, this is the kind of thing that I speak against. Like, again, people will do what they want to do. People are adults. They can choose what to do with their own money. But I would highly question, if you are investing in Pokemon, tied to the word investing is like the motive to make money. So if your motive is to make money and you're paying 20 or 30% credit card debt, what I always talk about is opportunity cost. So I always talk about this tree, this apple tree with the low-hanging fruit. If you want to look at the silver lining of having credit card debt, you, unlike almost anyone else in the world, have an opportunity to make guaranteed 25 or 30% returns instantly on your money. Like, the most common way that people have guaranteed opportunity to make 50% on their money or 100% on their money is through employer match. And then the next most common way that people have guaranteed 30+% returns staring them in the face is credit card debt. If you have 40 grand in credit card debt, you are paying $12,000 a year at 30% to service that debt. You are paying $1,000 a month on 40 grand at 30% to service that debt. So you need to pay them $1,000 forever. Never touching the principal. If you paid them only $1,000 a month, you would pay that for the rest of your life, and you would never touch the principal. You would die owing them $30,000. They would love for that to happen. 30% is a great return on their money. So yeah, like, you need your Pokemon investment to overcome all of that and to overcome paying all your gains. Or like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. My video on Monday will be talking about like my personal finances and this and that, and I'll talk a little bit more about like the buckets, whether you want to call them the buckets. The money guys call them the financial order of operations. Dave Ramsey calls them the baby steps. Paying off your 30% credit cards, and even if it's 20%, even if it's 15%, substitute different numbers. At least for me, my financial order of operations, most people who would tell you anything about personal finance, most people, their lowest hanging fruit before investing in Evolving Skies. And one thing that might blow your mind, if you were buying the Evolving Skies on that credit card, even though Evolving Skies has doubled and tripled and quadrupled and whatever, once you sell it, once you pay all your gains, once you pay all your fees, you might have lost money. Evolving Skies might be the exception. Like, Evolving Skies went up so quickly, but there are scenarios where people might have portfolios that they built on a credit card that they think they're making money on because they're making money on paper while they're paying the interest, while they're doing this and that, and they're actually spinning their wheels. Yes, they're making 20, 25, 30% compounded on Pokemon, but they're paying 30% compounded to their credit card company. So I could rant on that for hours by itself. Jackson got my back here. Credit card debt is poison. I would immediately sell and try to cut that debt to zero ASAP. It's tough, but credit card debt is just, it is literally poison. It is toxic. It is very bad news. All the good things about investing, compounded returns, things like that, you have that just the wrong way. You're doing that for the credit card company. You have that working against you. And very quickly, that can go south very quickly. Can you guys answer why eBay blocked Amex? So Amex is very, very, Walrus says it right here, chargebacks. Two things, chargebacks, and also they have a higher payment processing rate as far as I understand. So I don't know what eBay's, and just like in all other aspects of business, if I run a credit card through my PayPal, I pay like what, 3.5%? I can bring my little thing, I can swipe credit cards at a convention, I'll pay 3.5% or whatever. eBay does not pay 3.5%. eBay probably pays 2% or something, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3%, because they're doing billions of dollars a year. They failed to negotiate a new contract with Amex. They have contracts with Visa, with MasterCard, whoever. But I think Amex is, like, if you go to a restaurant, if you go to a hotel chain, if you go to wherever you go, if you go to eBay, Amex is one of the most frequently ones that is not accepted because their payment processing fees are higher than the others, generally speaking. So eBay must not have been able to come to terms, combination of the higher buyer protection chargebacks or a combination of the fees to process it. So some combination of that. Cheese Talk, I'm here just in time then. Nice to see you, Dark Ibex. Shout out to Dark Ibex. Very, very great channel. Go check him out on YouTube. Great channel for like a boots on the ground in Japan, talking about all the reprints, talking about 151, what's going on the ground floor there. If the Pokemon Company wanted to push the popularity of a certain Pokemon, what would be their most effective option? Prominence in games, TV show, TCG, something else? I mean, to an extent, they can definitely push, but if they try to push like Trubbish too hard, I don't think they could push any Pokemon. I think a Pokemon needs to have inherently some good fundamentals. They need to be a cute electric mouse. They need to be a really cool big fiery dragon. They need to like have some fundamentals. But to like, as long as they have something going for them, they can push Pokemon. What would be the most effective option? I think the games. I think the games are... Let me go back to Pokemon most valuable IP. So if you look at the highest grossing media franchise, and if you look at Pokemon, if you look at what the source of all the revenue, highest grossing. I'm going to try to pull this up on screen so I'm not just talking about it. So the top 25 highest grossing media franchises of all time. Let me open this image in a new tab. Ugh, it's really blurry. Why can I not find a high quality one? Is this high quality? This is higher quality. Apologies, it's not like super high quality. But, so Pokemon, Hello Kitty, Winnie the Pooh, Disney. So Pokemon, the yellow is merchandise. So I think if Pokemon were to do a massive campaign, if they wanted to push somebody, they would have landing page features, they would have the big plushes, they would have t-shirts, they would have posters, they would have canvases. The primary push, just through, like, I'm not making this up, over half the revenue comes from merchandise. So at Walmart, at Target, on PokemonCenter.com, they would just have all their primary products heavily featuring this Pokemon, whichever Pokemon they wanted to push. Supplementary to that, I mean, video games is the next highest, trading cards is the next highest after that, but trading cards is like that tiny little orange sliver relative to merchandise, which is the complete, like, I mean, merchandise over 60 billion of the not even 100 billion. So yeah, 2/3 is merchandise. So I would exactly mimic, like, they would start in merchandise, they would have big standees in the aisles at Walmart, they would have the end caps with X Pokemon, whatever it is, and then on down from there. Video games would be the next focus, and then trading cards would be the next focus. That is my take on that. Good question, though. Related, how much is the popularity of the more popular Pokemon organic? It's hard to say. Like, Pokemon chose Pikachu as the mascot. Pokemon chose in episode 1 for Ash to sleep through his alarm and pick Pikachu as his starter, right? But the hobby ran with it. Like we clearly like it. If we had rejected Pikachu somehow, if we really hated it, if Pikachu tested poorly on certain demographic, like somehow they're doing like some kind of market research. if Pikachu in the early days had tested poorly, they wouldn't have ever created Pokemon Yellow. They probably would have like pivoted away from Pikachu somehow. They would have found a way to pivot off him, but I think some amount is organic and then some amount is push. How to suss that out? It's impossible. How much how much of Evolving Skies being $700 a box is because people have it stashed in the closet, and how much of it is because people are ripping it like crazy? It's some combination of both, but what percentage, we don't know. It's similar with that. The cheese makes perfect sense given Dan's history dealing beer stein. Sounds like he would love Wisconsin. You haven't lived till you're live streaming drinking homemade chocolate milk and flaming Brad G. Oh man, you gotta love it. Did my man say Crayola Factory? Yes, we are going to go make crayons. Dan, me, and my wife are going to see the Crayon Museum collectibles. Uh-oh, Tom B asking a scary question. Hopefully Tom B's not trying to steal stuff. When you stay in a hotel at these long conventions, how do you secure your goods in the hotel room? I'd be worried about leaving stuff behind. I'm fully insured. So I'm fully insured. Some of the rooms have those dinky little in-room vaults. I mean, to some extent, it's like... Yeah, I don't know how deep we need to go into this. I'm fully insured, so I'm not like ever overly concerned with it. Some amount of people leave a lot of stuff in the convention itself, their security, but like how much do you trust that? I don't know. We don't need to get too deep into that. We're talking about me No, when I wouldn't stand up to grab the card, I'm wearing gym shorts. I just don't I don't want to go grab the card and then show it in a way that's not going to show it well anyways. I guess I could have showed it. I could have just pulled up Brad's listing on eBay, but I don't want to shout out his eBay too much. Yeah, the whole debt thing, like I paid off my house early, even though knowing that like it was the financially incorrect decision as far as history shows us, like 10% return in the market, whatever, 35% compound annual growth rate return in Pokemon. I opted to pay off a 3% debt early because it makes me sleep better at night, especially when I'm going to quit my job to do this stuff full time. Are you a leash parent or eyes on kid parent? My kids do not have leashes. My wife is definitely a worrier, but not that bad. Not that much. We do not have them on leashes. We will not have them on leashes at the convention. My wife will probably be fairly stressed about it. We'll probably go on Sunday when it's not as crazy packed as Saturday. We're not going to be going in, like, waiting in line at the outset. We're going to go in, like, early afternoon probably, hopefully when the line is gone. But there won't be leashes, but we'll be keeping a close eye on them. Jackson's still in student loan debt, focused on maxing out my buckets in my 20s, though. There we go. You love to hear it. Have you ever purchased a Creatures deck card? I have not. I have eyed the Charmander a couple times, but I've never gone for it. School is a bag. Just sell these Charis. You'll be all right. Says Retrospects. Those are not my words. I have a Master's too. I got my Master's during the pandemic, and I did not use it very long. Are your 36 booster pack on eBay items coming back soon? I paused them for a while because I'm trying to stock up stuff for eBay Live in the future. I do want to have a couple different streamers. I'm hoping eBay Live will get eBay Live out of beta. I'm hoping I can have multiple people streaming my products on my eBay sometime soon, but it doesn't seem like it's coming like really soon. I said maybe July at the earliest. Feels like July's not going to happen. Feels like yeah. The Coke is definitely getting pretty watery. A lot of ice in here, but that's the way I like it. Ice cold, a little bit watered down. Yeah, that's what a ton of people do. Like, how viable is it? It depends on how your expertise is. It depends on what your bankroll is. It depends on how much money, if any, you need to take out of the hobby. But is buying cards on eBay, grading them, and reselling them on eBay a viable PokeFlip operation? Absolutely. Ton of people do it. I do it. That's one component of what I do. That's not all of what I do, but that's never been all of what I've done. But that's part of it. eBay, TCG Player, I mean, LGSs, conventions, all over the place. And some people buy single cards on eBay. Some people buy entire collections, all over the place. Honestly, cash out to Dan right now for 80%. I do buy a lot of stuff for 80%. I buy sealed. If it's ultra modern, I prefer it to be in cases. I don't do like collection boxes. I don't do the collection tins. I do sealed booster cases. I do loose boxes if it's more than like a $300-400 box. I'll go for boxes, but I'm not as crazy about them. I'm more like the cases. I do ETB cases if it's a specialty set. I don't really do them as much. I do them a little bit, but not as much if it's like a main set. Just too much air to deal with. But I buy greater than $25-30 singles, like TCG Player pricing. Near Mint Plus singles, I buy 80%. So I am here if you want to sell to me. If you had $1,000 to invest in Scarlet and Violet 151, which products would you buy? I find specialty sets are harder to invest in because they don't have a booster box. Same for Paldean Fades, etc. So one thing I always go to is like, why answer it with words when I can just answer it with like, this is what I actually have. If you go back and you watch my video, I built an investment palette. On that investment palette were some amount of 151 UPCs. I like the UPC product. I don't like how bulky it is. I wish it wasn't quite so bulky. But the only things I have are ETBs and UPCs. The booster bundles, I like the concept of, but I was able to get such a minimal amount of them at actual wholesale pricing. They were always at a high margin that I wasn't comfortable with, or a higher like unit price that I wasn't comfortable with. So I sold the majority of them. Did I sell them all? No, I still have some amount. But so I like the booster bundles. I just couldn't get into them at the right price. The things that I have that I could get into at the right price were the 151 UPCs and then the 151 ETBs. So that's where my mind is on it. That's not where my mind is. That's where my money is on that. I've actually had my collection for a few years, and the debt is from random stuff, not the Pokemon, just debating on selling to pay it. Accumulated the credit card debt past 3 months. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, so what, and this is not you. I'm not speaking to you here. Let me pull your comment off the screen. One thing I've heard, though, and people need to be aware of this, and I'll talk about it in my video on Monday. I am very big on conscious spending, and money is fungible. Money doesn't know, money doesn't care what else is going on. So this is not your situation, but say, like, I've heard people justify their spending. So say over a 2-year span, they go to Disney every year, they buy a new car every 3 years, and then their water heater breaks and their car needs a muffler, whatever it is. Like, things in life come up. That's what emergency funds are for. There are always unexpected expenses that will come up. And people will say, like, oh man, I'm broke because my muffler went. I'm broke because my hot water heater went. I'm broke because so those things are more of a surprise. When people start talking about like a roof, that doesn't just happen. When you buy a house, you know what year the roof was last done. You should be able to forecast and expect roughly when that will need to happen. But some things are unexpected, but people will say, like, I'm broke because of X, Y, and Z, and they'll talk like life has got them down, and you put yourself there because you didn't build an emergency fund, because you didn't, like, to an extent, you need to expect the unexpected. And again, this is not you. Like, I don't know what your circumstances, I don't know what came up that caused all that. Like, 40 grand in 3 months for credit card debt. I don't know if we're talking health stuff, and then obviously you don't need to answer this. But I just, anecdotally, I've seen too many people who talk about, like, and not to get into politics, but over the past decade, there's been a blue White House, there's been a red White House, and I just know those people on both sides that, like, oh, Obama, Trump, Biden, whoever's in there, it's their fault. The taxes went up a little bit, or this or that, and They just outsource all their problems. They take no personal responsibility. So they change nothing. They do nothing different to fix it. And yeah, that just, I guess this is like a little Dan rant session. What grinds my gears? That stuff grinds my gears because part of life is just you need to plan and you need to expect the unexpected. And especially like if you're a bachelor, if you're winging it, doing your own thing, it's different. If you have a wife and kids and a family to like, I mean, even though my wife is the sugar mama taking care of me, that whole thing. But you need to be responsible for all that. And life's gonna throw you things. You need to be ready to tackle it. And the biggest thing that I talk about whenever I'm seeing this talking down on Pokemon investing, because some people will say that. They'll say that I'm a Pokemon investor and they'll say that I talk down on Pokemon investing. The only reason I can justify having as much as I have, building that palette, going back to the buckets, I'm in the purple. I think I have that still. Do I? Where'd it go? I clicked it, but it's not coming up. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I thought I still had the source on my OBS. I must have deleted the file or something. But anyways, where is that thing? Oh, it's gone anyways. But I'm in the purple. I have no debt of any kind. I have all these things done. I have like this financial foundation built. So that's how I can justify investing in Pokemon. If you start investing in Pokemon when you're over here in the orange, in the yellow, where like you don't have $1,000 saved up, you don't have an X amount of month emergency fund, you might have some credit card debt, you might have that student loan debt, you might have a high interest automotive loan that you're still paying on. If you start dabbling in Pokemon, you're more likely to just head down a bad scenario. You're more likely to have bad luck because luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Bad luck oftentimes is failing to prepare. What is that? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. That rings true in a lot of people that I used to sit around the lunch table with. Oh man, life has just got me down. No, it's because you instead of paying down debt, paying off your credit card, instead of saving up a couple months of like cushion, your first bucket is that Disney trip every year. And again, I will rant and I will talk about this in depth on my video Monday. I'm writing down a note of something I just thought to talk about in my video on Monday. That'll be a fun one. But some people's first bucket is getting a new car every 3 years. Some people's first bucket, their first financial order of operations, I have to have a Gucci bag. I have to have Oakley sunglasses. I have to have a Supreme t-shirt. I have to have these things. That's my first bucket. And then the second bucket is food. And the third bucket is rent. And the fourth bucket is Pokemon. And the fifth bucket is like children's education and retirement. And like everyone's buckets are all different. And you're an adult and I'm an adult. We can all set them however we want to. But don't be surprised, like, if things are kind of rough, if you don't prioritize things in what I would deem like a reasonable way. There's my whole rant there on that. I think that was a good one. And yeah, I'm not advocating for anything, but I have bought multiple $40,000 collections, inventories, investments, whatever. If you trust me enough, and a lot of people have, if you trust me enough to send first, I've had people send me a $40,000 collection, and then the next business day, once I'm able to verify everything's all good in there, I'll send them a $32,000 a check or an ACH. I can't really do like friends and family at that point, but if it's like sub 5 or 10 grand, I'll do friends and family payout, however you want to. And not advocating for anything, but I don't need your social. There will be no 1099 generated. And you will have a risk-free 80% if it's the right stuff. If it's the wrong stuff, it won't be 80%, yada, yada. But you might have a local LGS. You might have a local whatnot streamer, eBay live streamer. You might have someone local to you that will pay you in cash $100 bills. You don't even have to ship it. You just take it in, and then you walk away. Like, I would be surprised if people lived in a big metro, a big city, and they didn't have an LGS, didn't have the ability to list on Facebook, Verbank, Marketplace, whatever, and get someone to pay them like 80-85% on higher quality stuff that is in high demand for ripping right now. You know how long that demand will last while it's here. Like, even if it's not me, look into that. Take advantage of that, because that might work well. Dan, I'm 100K in debt. Should I sell my Scarlet and Violet boxes? I think Ernie's trolling here, but yes. So you can still pay with Amex through PayPal. eBay just doesn't. So eBay managed payments will not take Amex directly. Whatever happened to Pokemon Sleep? Is it still around? I have no idea. I use Pokemon Smile every day, brushing my kids' teeth. I'm back into logging in. I have a 6-day login streak, a 6-day catch streak on Pokemon Go. And I'm going to see how far I take that. But as of right now, I think Minecraft lasted like 6 months for my son. And it lasted like 8 months for me, so I could defeat the Ender Dragon. Plants vs. Zombies lasted like 2 weeks. For whatever reason, that came up and that went away really quickly. We'll see what the next thing is. We'll see how long Pokemon Go lasts. Every time he's like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I'm gonna play Minecraft. I'm gonna play Minecraft for the rest of my life. And he played it for about 2 months. He watched it for around 6 months, and he just watched me beat the Ender Dragon yesterday or 2 days ago. How do you comp Black Label BGS? I mean, ideally, if there's a former sale, you go off that. If there's not, however you want to. Depending on the card. I mean, certain cards go for a 2 times multiple. Certain cards go for a 20 times multiple. Could be anywhere. Like, it's all arbitrary. It's what a seller will sell for and what a buyer will pay. What sort of insurance policy do you have? What does it cover? How do you go about finding the best one? So there's this guy on YouTube. He makes not viral YouTube videos. Catch 'em all collectibles. He made a video 2 years ago talking about how to insure a Pokemon collection, how to insure a Pokemon business. So search on my YouTube for insurance, and it will be 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I think it was a good video, but I have Collect Insure, it's called. I do have them linked in that video description. Most people I know in the industry that have insurance, a lot of people YOLO it without insurance, but most people that have it do have Collect Insure. I've had successful payouts. I know other people who've had successful payouts. I have insurance that covers my inventory, my consignor's inventory, all inbound, all outbound shipments, like everything I needed to. Traveling to conventions, all the inventory I bring to that. Up to certain limits, obviously, but be aware of your limits, be aware of what you have. You can set your own deductible. You can plug and play like what you need, what you need in an insurance policy. Work with your agent. Let me scroll back up. Dan's jealous of my 100% positive feedback. Would you pay off 3% mortgage right now with treasuries / savings where they are? Are you a true Ramsey follower? So I'm not a true Ramsey follower. I think his finance content is good for people that are bad with money. But me being who I am, knowing how I am, knowing just how well I sleep at night, being completely out of debt, my disdain for banks. I really hate banks, how they work, so many things about just the whole credit industry. I like utilizing credit cards to give me 2% cash back on everything because that works for me, giving me buyer's protection, all that good stuff. But I hate the way banks work, and I don't like owing them money. So even though I knew it was like the wrong thing to do, back in the fall of 2021, back in the fall of 2020, I paid off my house. I called up my bank. This is how stupid banks are. I called them up and I'm like, I'm going to pay off my house. How much money do I owe you? Well, we think you owe about this much. But if the payment settles this day, it'll be this much. If the payment settles this day, it'll be this much. I'm like, we'll figure out what day the payment will settle. Tell me the amount I need to pay to have it paid on that date. And then I'll pay, take that much from my account. It's in there. Take it and pay off my mortgage. The process of paying off a mortgage, at the time, it was like 100 and whatever thousand. I said, take the money, pay it to zero. Oh, well, interest and this and that, and the amount of time that the ACH transfer will take to pay it off. Like, you are the bank. They are a bank. The money's there. Take it. Don't take more. Don't take less. So what ended up happening is naturally, a week later, my payoff did not pay it off. I owed like 30 more cents or something stupid. This is how stupid banks are. It's 2024. I had the money in my bank. I tried paying off a mortgage. Same thing happened when I recently rolled over from Vanguard, my former, sorry, from not from Vanguard, from Mass Mutual, whoever it was, whoever bought Mass Mutual. I rolled over an IRA, and it's like, hey, take all my money out of this account and send it to my solo 401 or my personal IRA, so that it can be in Vanguard instead of my former employer 401k, just so that I have more freedom of selection of what investment I want to choose, and lower fees. Vanguard has lower fees in my IRA than my former 401k had. And instead of just sending it all at once, it's like, oh no, well, we need to sell it and things need to settle and interest and the sweep account and yada, yada, yada. It's like I sent 6 figures of money, and then a week later, I had to send like 41 cents or whatever it was. It's like, it's 2024. I actually just paid out a consignor today. It's Wednesday, so Wednesday's my payout day. And it's going from my bank into Wise, and then it's converting into like a foreign currency, and then it's going to them. It takes like a week. I just paid someone out in crypto earlier, in USDC. Paid out in 2 minutes. Cost like $2 or $3. I paid out someone via Wise, which Wise is a lot cheaper than most things. I think to send 15 grand. So I sent like low 5 figures in USDC. Took 2 minutes, cost $2, $3, whatever it was. I sent like 15 grand from my credit union to my Wise to the international whatever. It's projecting that it takes like a full week, like 6-7 days. It's like, what are we doing here? It's 2024. Can't we move money quicker than that? It's 2024, and banks are living in like 1954. What are we doing here? So I just hate banks. I paid off my mortgage, 3% mortgage, way earlier than I should have, financially speaking. Like, according to Ramsey, he would say I did the right thing. According to like any bogleheads, according to like any financial independence podcast, any the old things that I used to read, they all would have said to cling to that 3% debt and pay the minimum payment until it's gone. And mathematically, historically speaking, that's always been the right thing to do. Almost always been the right thing to do. But in spite of it being mathematically the wrong thing, I just wanted to be able to rest easier at night and know that I wasn't like paying any interest to a bank. So that's the route that I took. But I knew, I'm very big on conscious spending. If you want to have your first bucket be your car, as long as you consciously know that's what's happening. Going back to that rant I did 10 minutes ago. People are blaming their muffler. People are blaming this and that. People are blaming their financial situation on a couple little like hardships, a couple little bad luck things they had. But it's not that. It's them. It's them having their priorities all out of whack. The fact that nowhere in there do they have an emergency fund. When you own or rent, when you own a house and you own multiple vehicles and you have kids, like, it is not a possibility. It is a certainty that things will go wrong. Things will go wrong that cost money. So yeah, rants all over the place here, but that's how we do it here. If we get Japanese poncho promos that go with this rocket set, oh man, for the most part, they've only put clothes on Pikachu. They also did do the evolution clothes on Eevee. But like, they've only just scratched the surface. Going back way earlier, an hour and a half ago, when I talked about what they could do in Pokemon. They could do Gold Stars. They could do Serialized. They could do 251. They could do Evolutions 2.0 Neo Genesis. They could do Celebrations 2.0 with the Neo eras. Well, Celebrations kind of covered everything, but it didn't cover everything. They could absolutely do more clothes on Pikachu. There are certain clothes they have still not put on Pikachu. They could put clothes on Charizard. They could put clothes on Blastoise. They could put clothes on anybody, and we will lose our minds. There's so much stuff they can do. It is so easy. Talking about low-hanging fruit, Pokemon, the apple tree of Pokemon is like, there's nothing up there they can't, like, there's so much low-hanging fruit that they have not yet harvested. It is wild. It is insane. Oak and Z have both had rough experiences with kids at Collecticon. How will you make it a success? I think, I don't know exactly how old their kids are or were when they went. I think they were a fair bit younger. My kids are 3 and 5 currently. My son will actually be 6 when we go to the convention. So I think they're at an age where they'll be really excited. Like, I'm not going early. We're not waiting in a line for an hour. Part of the reason we didn't take them to Disney is because we're going to wait till they're the right age for Disney. I think they're the right age for a Collecticon. I think they're the right age for an afternoon, not during the concert when it's way too loud, not waiting in an hour-long line trying to get in early, going Sunday afternoon when it's slower. I think they're at the right age for that. So I think I'll have a success by planning properly and having kids that are the right age, bringing them to the right time. So having been to so many Collecticons, I kind of have a feel for like when will be best. And I could be wrong. We'll see. Who? I don't know. Oh, that's Dave Ramsey. I didn't know what day we were talking about here. Dan, quit pocket watching. Brad is my #1 fan by far. Brad, I am so... This reminds me of a rant PK did about somebody in his chat, but I am so in Brad's mind 24/7. I post in Discord, Brad is posting 30 seconds later. I am so in that man's head. I don't know how what I'm doing is pocket watching. It's like I am telling you the way that I think about business through this channel. I'm telling you the way that I think about finances through this channel. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm telling them what I would do. If they want to hear what I would do, if you want to hear, Brad, what I want to do, which I can tell you don't want to hear, Brad. You need to hear. You need to hear because you have it set up so when I post in Discord, it pings your phone directly. That thing vibrates your phone and you're getting in there. You're in the live streams. I mean, if what I'm doing is pocket watching, I don't know what we're gonna call what Brad is doing, but man, Brad is always there, and I appreciate it. I very much appreciate the fandom, Brad. My first bucket was a Home Depot brand 5-gallon. Oh man, what did I walk into? This was 13 minutes ago. I'm only 13 minutes behind, so keep the questions coming. I am getting close to catching up to chat. I will go till I'm caught up, till I'm happy. But probably ending around 1, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. LGS will offer 50%. Maybe. Probably mostly, but who knows? There are probably some LGSs out there that will offer you more than that. And at least if they're offering 50%, like go in knowing what you have, knowing what it's worth, and then just don't take it. Like don't be offended by it. Just turn around and don't take it. Do a little bit more work to get more money. When you pay people for their collections, friends and family, check, Zelle, etc., are there any tax implications there? For who? So if I buy your collection and you broke even, there's no tax implication. I guess maybe you would have to declare it and then you would have to show that you broke even. But if you made money, if I'm buying your stuff and you made money, you owe money to the IRS on your gains. Am I gonna talk to anyone about that? Do I have to issue a 1099? No. But like legally speaking, the IRS, if you made money, the IRS wants their cut. Uncle Sam's got his hand out always. But if you're asking for my tax implication, it's just the purchase. I mean, when I pay through friends and family, it comes from my bank account and say I buy a $10,000 collection. It's a $10,000 debit from my account on June 6th, and that's allocated towards buying XYZ's collection, and it just goes into it lumps into my purchases. I bought here, I bought there, I bought this, I bought that. So that's both sides of the tax implication. I care about and I follow up on my side what you do with your side. Like I don't care. I legally don't have to care. It's up to you. It's between you and other people. So not my spot. Brad G Cards is typing. When I post in Discord, within 30 seconds most of the time, if I hang out and if I look, Brad G Cards is typing. Absolutely. Nice to see you in here, John. Which Collecticons are you going to, Dan? Charlotte, Orlando, and Jersey. So I did go to Orlando. I only went there Sunday, and I hung out. I didn't vend. So I'm vending Charlotte and Chicago, and then I'm going to Jersey, probably just Sunday for a few hours with my whole family. So let me know, John, which ones are you going to? Will I bump into you at any of them? Hopefully. Jackson says, fun fact, it is statistically more likely to win a coin flip when picking the side face up during the flip. It makes logical sense to some extent, and I don't know if this is the reasoning, but like some amount of people might just accidentally throw the coin up into the air and it doesn't flip at all. So obviously a fair, true flip will flip many, many times. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I feel like I can see some logic behind it. Maybe there's been a study done on that, but keep that in mind if you're doing coin flips at conventions, because it is a common thing. It's a common thing at conventions that people will be like $50 apart on a deal, $500, no $550. Let's flip for it. Let's flip for it. Heads, it's $500. Tails, it's $550. Whatever. Brad, another casualty of Dan's rage, and he's not even off the cider tonight. If you make Brad the victim in any of this, like Brad, and I'm not making myself a victim here, but Brad is constantly there poking. And then, like, all day in Discord, all YouTube chat, he's poking. And it defies so much, like, the tiniest poke bat. He up in arms, he's a victim, Dan's a monster, what's Dan drinking? He had an extra Mountain Dew lookout. Like, I mean, it's funny. It is funny, but Brad got pretty quiet. Brad got pretty quiet after the call-out. I will say that. He's going to post something now, probably, but Chicago and Charlotte are priority, but unsure with Worlds and New York City Comic-Con being so close to both of them. Yeah, Worlds isn't going to happen to me. I would love for it to happen, but Hawaii's a lot. I will make Hawaii sometime in my life, but I don't think right now is the time. Kids are too young to go. We already did the longer trip to Orlando. So New Jersey, we're doing an extended trip with the entire family. I guess we're leaving the dog behind. The grandparents will have to just have the pup for that trip. But Hawaii will happen at some point for my wife and I. Maybe it'll be a whole family thing 10 years from now or something when the kids are old enough. Maybe it'll be our 10-year wedding anniversary is actually next year. So maybe that'll be it. Maybe that'll be our long trip. But that's really long, though. That's like, I feel like if you do Hawaii, just the travel time there and back, I feel like you have to do a week and a half. And I'm not sure if we'll be leaving the kids for that long right now. We'll see. Pillars aren't supposed to poke. They don't have arms. Brad doing it for sport. Ugh. I'm calling Brad's local hospital to check in. Oh, man. We have a good dynamic going. Brad's talking about pocket watching. The man literally, so I went and I talked, and I did talk. I'm sorry, Brad. I apologized already. I talked in front of Brad's table for like 10 minutes probably with a couple different people, and I tried to be off to the side, and they were maybe standing a little more in front of it, whatever. And then a little bit later, I was inside of his section, and then I was across talking to Retro, and I look at my Instagram, and I got tagged in a story. So I'm like, okay, what's up? What's this? He posted a picture of my shoes and tagged me. Talk about pocket watching. He posted a picture of me with my $20 shoes that I'm not ashamed of. Going back to, like, there are people that have 30% credit card debt, but they will not be without, I don't even know, Peak That Shoe is going to be mad at me, because I don't even know what a trendy thing is. Earlier I said Oakley sunglasses, I said Supreme t-shirt, Yeezys, and ones, Jordans, like, I don't even know what shoes to say, like, the trendy thing, but there are people, their first bucket is like, I need to look like I have money. And it's sad. It is sad that some people's first bucket, they will prioritize this over paying their rent. They will prioritize this over paying for, like, securing their future, their future and their financial, their like children's future, their retirement, all that stuff. They will prioritize putting on a show for other people, whether that's manicures and pedicures and lashes and fancy t-shirts and hats. And it's like, if you value that stuff and you want to buy it, I'm not shaming you for that. But Brad was literally, he's calling me a pocket watcher, and he's literally tagging me on Instagram. And funny thing, like, I shared it. I tagged him back and I shared it to show people what a monster he is. Like, I don't give a shit. That's why I wear $20 Avias. But it's sad. It's sad because there are people out there that wear $200 shoes for other people, and they'll lie. Some people will lie to themselves, and they'll say it's for them, and they'll say they value it, and they'll like struggle. They'll struggle to get by while having $200 shoes. It's like, what are we doing here, people? What are we doing here? The amount of financial stress that people will go through, driving a car for other people, wearing clothes for other people, that is sad to me. Like, I want to have a finance channel someday to help people. Disproportionately though, like, I will not be a viral YouTube channel. I will not be a big 100K subscriber, a million subscriber. I will be a nice tiny little 5-10K subscriber finance channel too, probably. And the people who need to see it won't. The people who need to see it won't. Like, if you consciously decide, I want to wear $300 shoes, I want to drive a $70,000 car, it's all perfectly fine. But if you cry about having, like, not enough money to do the things you want, and you're prioritizing that stuff for other people, it's like, what are we doing here? Life is too short to care that much about what other people think. Like, use money as a tool. Money is like, it doesn't buy happiness directly, but I know a shit ton of people that are very unhappy in life because their buckets are all screwed up, their financial order of operations don't even maximize. They're not utilizing their money as the tool that it is to maximize for them and for their family. They're putting on a show for other people. It's sad. That is sad as hell. And thank you, Brad, for getting me on that rant. Thank you for tagging me about my Avias. It's crazy. That stuff is crazy to me. And I know so many of those people. I work with those people. I have friends and family that are those people. And it's sad. The amount of more joy they could have in life, the amount further their money could go in life if they spent for them, and they spent consciously with their own money, not with 30% credit card debt. Because again, if you've got 50 grand at 20%, you're paying 10 grand a year. 10 grand a year that you can no longer consume to bring yourself joy and happiness in whatever, financial security, freedom, whatever. You're now spending that servicing your debt. So every dollar you go into debt to please someone else, that's money that you're paying forever. You're not buying $200 shoes. You're renting them. You're putting a $200 deposit on those shoes, and then you're paying 20% interest. Some people for the rest of their lives. Like, what are we doing? I'm passionate about personal finance because I think a lot of people so suboptimally utilize the money they have, and it's a precious resource. Like, it love it or hate it, we live in a capitalistic society, and we compete for limited resources through money. And some people just like spend so much of it pleasing other people. And it's like, find out what your goals are in life, find out what brings you joy in life, and use your money as the tool that it is to guide your ship towards those goals. And if your goals are just like putting on a show for other people and then hearing like, oh, nice shoes, cool, whatever, like, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. That's a big long rant there. I could go on and on about that. I'm pocket watching though. I'm pocket watching. Correct. I am no snitch. I am no snitch. Hi Dan is taking out a HELOC on my house to buy SV before it moons. A good investment. It's your money. Do what you want with it. That does not fall into my financial order of operations personally. Stay tuned to my video on Monday. My video, maybe another week after that, will go deeper into my personal financial order of operations. But whatever you want to do. Moving is negative EV. Yeah, safe travels. Hope all goes well. Definitely go check out the ZNG Emporium. It is not the last auction block ever, but this Sunday there's a ZNG Emporium auction block ending. That will be the last one until sometime in July, while James moves to Indianapolis. That is a lot of bags of money. I've seen his 90-day. I think he posted all of 2023 at the end of the year last year. He did like 5 million last year, so that's a lot of bags of money. That's a big net revenue, not gross revenue, net revenue for one man. Are you in your forever home in your mid-30s? Absolutely not. This house is way too big. This house is way too big. Another place, I think one of the most common places that people go broke, one, pleasing other people. Cars. Cars are one of the most common places that people, like a status symbol. If you have the money, spend it, do whatever. If you don't have the money, spend it. Like, I don't actually care what people do. It's like, I'd rather more people be more happy. So I care to that extent. I care to the extent that I'd rather more people knew how to use their money to bring them the most happiness possible. So I care to that extent. But no, like, a lot of people go broke driving too much car. A lot of people go broke buying too much house. I'm in what I would deem slightly too much house. We're doing well financially. And I mean, I bought this in 2019, pre-boom. So we were doing well financially. I had one child at the time. We were working on number two. Number two came not too long after. And I bought a little bit more house than I wanted because I knew it would be better for the family. Like, I knew it wouldn't be too much. Kind of like a goldfish, you grow to the size of your... And we have way too much crap. We need to go through and get rid of a lot of kids' toys. Kids... I've talked about raising kids that are enabled, not entitled, and towing that line of them having too much stuff for sure. But I see this as a 20-year home. So I moved out of my house when I graduated college at 21, and my parents let me live with them for 2 more years because my financial order of operations, paying off my student loans and buying a house, so saving a down payment for a house, were in my financial order of operations before having an apartment. So I prioritized freedom. I prioritized being debt-free, well, moving from student loan debt into primary residence debt. So that was my financial order of operations when I was 21. And by the time I was 23, I succeeded, and I moved out. And my wife moved out of her parents' house. Once she got done with her master's, all that, she moved in with me. Then we got engaged, then we got married the subsequent years. But that was our starter house. That was a 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,000 square foot ranch. This new one is like more than double that. This new one is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. We have 2 kids. Well, it's a 2.5 bath. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And it's big enough for what we have. It's a little bit too big, bordering on too big. But in 20 years, if our children decide to graduate college, go to college, not go to college, once they like leave the nest, that's when we'll downsize. If that's 21, 23, 25, 30, like, I don't know how it will work. We'll see what my kids do as they grow up. Like, I don't know how to forecast that perfectly, obviously. But they'll always be welcome back home if they need to. They'll always be welcome, assuming certain things. Like, obviously, assuming certain things. There are, yeah, we don't need to go down that road. But if I had to guess, if I had to put a guess on it, if my daughter were to move out at the same age that I did, that would mean I would be here for 20 years. Like, all the projects that I do on the house, when I put a roof on it in the next couple of years, I just put a driveway in. When I put a deck on it, I'm thinking in the back of my mind 20 years, and then we're selling it. So everything I do has a mindset for like 20, maybe 25 years tops, and then I'm going to downsize. I hate moving, like, with a passion. So my next house, if life is still treating me well, I kind of want to build my next house. I kind of want to have a brand new, for the first time ever, my last house, my wife and I's last house. I want to build something that's very efficiently using space, that is a very efficient use of our dollars, a very high return on our dollars, bringing us a lot of joy. Building a house is a stressful process. So back in 2005, I guess I did live in a brand new house that wasn't mine. Back in 2005, we built, my dad, my uncle, my grandpa, me, a bunch of people built a house back then that we lived in for, we only lived in it for like 4 years. An opportunity came up for my dad. And when he built that, like, you never know what life is going to throw you. So things could change. But when he built that, he probably thought that was going to be a 20-year house, 20-year house, and it was only a 4-year house because an opportunity came up and he bought something else. He bought a house with a garage, commercially zoned and all that. So anyways, where's the tipping point then? What would the 15-year treasury need to be for you to not pay off a 3% 15-year mortgage? No price, hate banks that much. So the relationship between the 15-year treasury and a mortgage there's always some spread there. So I obviously did not know 3 years, 4 years after paying off my mortgage, treasuries would exceed mortgages. All I knew at the time was 3% was the mortgage, 1% was the treasuries, or whatever it was. So I paid it off. It's like I paid it off. I had no other guaranteed source of that even though it was only 3%, it was guaranteed money paying off debt. So in today's environment, if a 15-year treasury is like 4% and a mortgage is 6%, there's always going to be that like 2% spread. So if I had a 6% mortgage today, I would pay it off because treasuries are only paying 4% or whatever they're paying. So I would always pay it off just due to the way my mind works, the way that my relationship with banks, my relationship with debt, all that stuff. I would always pay it off just because of the relationship between those two things. It's not me ruining my financial situation, it's all these damn reprints. Pokemon, stop the printing, please. My family can't eat. Dan, it's your fault, collectibles. I mean, it kind of is. The entitlement that people have being born in these years that we're born in, like being born in, and not everybody. There's a lot of international viewership out there, but like being born in a free country, like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like people, and I've gone on this rant 2 hours into a live stream, sometimes propelled by IPAs, sometimes propelled by Mountain Dew. The lights aren't red, but we're going to do it a little bit. When I hear people say the American dream is dead, usually, and I'm very biased. I'm very biased by my own anecdotal, the people that I know in my life, the people that I see. When I hear people, and the people that I've heard in my life say the American dream is dead, what are you talking about? Your parents paid for your whole college. You got your first car bought like I did. You were born in like the 90s in the economic powerhouse of the world. You have like all the things that you have that you were born into, and you're worried because you only got your college paid for and your car paid for, but you know someone down the street, you went to college with someone, they got a Mercedes and you only got a Honda, you only got a Toyota. It's like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? Yes, there's always going to be someone with more. If you were born, if you're watching this right now, whatever means you're watching this through, whatever country you're watching this from, you are in the 90 plus percentile of like, maybe not that high. I don't even know what to attribute it to overall. And certain people with health and certain people in young ages have like I'm not downplaying the situations that some people go through, obviously being born into stuff like this, but then dealing with abuse, dealing with like very bad familial health type things. I'm very lucky, fortunate, privileged. And I know a lot of people who have all those same privileges as me, and sometimes more. And then they sit around and say the American dream is dead. And they long for the 50s. They long for this and that. One income, the whole house, like all these things that I hear. It's just like, go live in a house, the average size of a house go live in a house that people were buying in the 50s. Drive a car like people were, live like it's the 50s, and you can afford that on one salary. You don't want to do that though. You want your new car every 3 years. You want your Disney vacation every other year. You want your new $1,000 fancy device every year. It's like, what are we talking about? Those are the kinds of things that like grind my gears. I need a finance channel. I need a finance channel soon so that I can just rant and ramble on all that stuff. And some people would watch it and, oh, look at this kid. He had everything. He was born on third base and he can't relate and he doesn't understand. Like, I know people in my real life every day. Like, I know people who've been through some crap, and I know people who've dug out of that and built amazing lives for themselves. And I know some people who were born with almost everything, but they saw someone that had more, and they just sit on their hands, and they expect someone to fix it all for them. And again, it's like, I'm not talking to anyone in particular. I am talking to particular people, but like in my past, in my own life, I could rant for a long time about all that stuff. And some people will really take offense to that. Some people will be like, really, he doesn't understand. And I do understand. Like I just said, people have traumatic things that I didn't have to go through, and absolutely. But some percentage of the world population are born into like war and poverty and extreme poverty, and born into not having a house, born into not having a stable water supply, born into like the things that millions and hundreds of millions and maybe a billion people over the past 20 years have been born into. Billions of people have been born into that are so far and above. If you're watching this, like there's a quite a good chance that you weren't born into any of that stuff, that like a sizable portion of the world was born into it, and some people, they have no shot of ever escaping. Like we won to some extent a lottery just in where and when we were born, for sure. And people discount that. Let me see what chat's doing with all this. Dan makes his kids take out loans against their allowance for a Disney trip at market rate. Oh man. Damn, I will miss Brad. Let's see if Brad comes back or if he doesn't come back. Can't wait to see Dan's kids doing coin flips and vendor POVs. I'm gonna have to send him to the Volvo store to wheel and deal. I posted in Discord shortly before I went live. So kids 7 and under are free for Collecticon, which is great because my kids will be 3 and 6. So they don't even have to learn what their new ages are. They get to just roll with their actual ages. Disney though, the mouse doesn't let any of that fly. The mouse has got you going through x-rays. He catches all the kids piled up under the trench coat. He takes like a blood sample at the door. He gets your social security number. He finds every which way to monetize you fully. There's no getting by that. There's no reduced rate for kids. I don't think there's a reduced rate. If you pop out a baby and the next day with a 1-day-old go to Disney, they're paying $150 for their ticket and they're paying $25 for that fast pass. I don't think there's anything like that at Disney. Dan goes off when Brad isn't here. Coward. Brad is 100% here. Don't let Brad's silence make you think that Brad is 100% here. I'm as dead as Brad right now. Oh man. Still driving around on gas and paper. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the remainder of the night at Orlando. I did show Apologies Rock Pokemon. I cropped them out. But we went to dinner, and then so my wife wasn't gonna hang out late night at I went to Spicy Manor. I went to the homie's crib, Airbnb, off 15 minutes maybe from the hotel. But after dinner, shout out Thrifty, instead of having to like Uber, I didn't want to make my wife late night in a city Uber home alone back to the hotel. So I asked if Thrifty could give a ride. I'm like, I'll fill your gas tank if you can give us a ride, so that I don't have to call an Uber, ride back to the hotel with my wife, call an Uber back to Spicy. She took us there on the way back. Like, I wanted to get a couple snacks, I wanted to get a couple drinks, some Powerade for rehydrating after my night of IPAs. So shout out Thrifty for giving the ride to my wife back to the hotel, and then ended up hanging out there. And then Rock gave me a ride back to the hotel late on that night. I forget when it was exactly. Not crazy, 2 o'clock maybe or something. But had a great time just hanging out. I'm not going to list everybody because I'll miss some people for sure. But like a lot of the people that were at the dinner, some more people hung out with like Kai, and Retro was there for a little while. Then he left a fair bit earlier. But a lot of great people, great time. Nice to see everyone. Coulson there. Dan in the morning lacing up his shoes. So I wear $20 shoes and I abuse them. I tie them loosely and then I just slip in and out. And like, if Peak Dat Chew listens back to this later, he's like, Dan, you gotta try these $300 Yeezys. They're so comfortable. I've wore $50 shoes. I've wore like back in the past. My dad actually. I think I've talked about my Nike Cortez phase for a while. That's all my dad used to ever wear. So at one point, I was the same size shoe as my dad. I'm 5 inches taller than my dad. I'm a little bit bigger shoe size, so I can't share shoes with my dad anymore. But at one point in my adolescence, at late adolescence maybe, I could share shoes with my dad, and he had Cortezes like crazy. He had like 20 pairs of them, worn flat, going way back to the 70s up to current, and Nike was making them, and they were like $40 maybe, 40 or $50. I could find them online, so I was buying them. They were pretty comfortable, but I did those for a while. Those things wore out like crazy. Those things wore out so fast, and the soles would fall off in the bottoms. And I did the New Balance dad shoes for a while, and I found these Avias. They're comfortable. They last pretty well. I beat them up pretty good. I'm a heavy dude. I slip them in and on like you're not supposed to. More wear to the back of them than it should be. They hold up well. They don't look good. They're not fashionable. They're not going to get you any points with anybody. I'm not trying to score points with anybody though. So yeah, that's me. That's me with my whole take on like. I will spend up to support my sports teams. I will spend up to support Java Akuma, to support Fujisan Rock Pokemon. I will spend up to support like Pokemon. I will spend up for brands like that I want to support. But like I'm not gonna spend up for Gucci or Prada or Fendi, like whatever other collabs that Pokemon has done. We need a new finance channel, Graham, Stefan, Rip, after latest Coffee Hill. So it's funny, I actually have a Yada account. I have $10,000 frozen in a Yada account, and I got it because I heard Graham Stefan talking about it. I heard Andre Jick talking about it. I liked the idea of it. I don't like the idea of the lottery. I don't like how many people that I know that are in bad financial situations, that one of their primary buckets, one of their first buckets, like maybe it's their third bucket, maybe it's their fifth bucket, but it's the lotto. Their retirement plan is the lotto, and it's sad. Going back to that whole rant I did on sad things with people's personal finances, it's sad how many people, like if you're utilizing it for entertainment, whatever, there are people gambling away their livelihoods at casinos, on the lottery, yada yada. But yada yada, funny, because yada savings. The way that they did it, so I had 10 grand in there. Every $25 I got a lotto ticket. So I had 400 lotto tickets for my $10,000. They paid like a nominal amount. Say the treasury was 3%. They would pay 2%, and then that additional 1%, theoretically, they would pool all that up amongst the millions of dollars they had amongst everybody. Maybe $1 billion. I don't know how much money. They would pool up that remainder of the 1%, and they would distribute it via lottery. Somebody would win like 100 grand, 250 grand. So for saving money, very, very long shot odds, worse than the lottery. But for saving money, they would reward you with the chance to make money. Yada went way downhill in the past 2 years. I didn't even know it. I had money in there sitting dormant. I never paid attention. Recently I had the thought that I should consolidate my bank accounts more, because I have Yada, I have Robinhood, I have Discover Savings, I have my normal bank, I have this, too many accounts to track. I just want to consolidate. And I can't take my money out of Yada right now because they turned into like a gambling platform. Basically everything against like the core idea, the core ideal, the core mission statement behind what they started as and what I liked. They became the complete opposite of that. They turned into a complete degenerate gambling app. And I never knew it. I never heard about it since. I never looked at my app. My 10 grand grew to like 10,500 and now I can't take it out. So yeah, that's rough. The way that I understand it, Yada is not FDIC insured. Yada is not a bank. Yada, though, kept the money. And maybe it's not copium or hopium, because I genuinely don't know the answer. It's just ignorance. It's blind ignorance. But supposedly, the banks where your money actually stayed with Yada were FDIC insured. It might take weeks, it might take months, it might take years though. Like I have no idea. I think I will get all my money back. I'm not entirely sure. But will it be less lawyer fees? Will it be less? Like I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see. Dan took one look at my Yeezys and said, could have bought 100 sealed SVP001s instead, and walked away in disgust. Never. Like, I am not one who will notice. I have no idea if Retro wears Yeezys. I have no idea if you can look at me and you can be certain that everything that I am wearing, total it up, it is less than like $80. You can be certain. At any given time, anywhere you run into me, if we're at a wedding or something, maybe it's a couple $100. But I can flash back on Orlando. I can pull up a picture of Orlando. I can look at everyone in the picture. I will have no clue. Any of the brands, any of the amounts, like no idea when it comes to any of that. And it's fine that people do it. It's fine that spend the money where it brings you value. If you're doing that stuff for you, absolutely do it. If you have the money, like who cares? That's what so much of this comes back to. To quote a wise man, James E and G Emporium, he once said, who cares? He used to say who cares a lot, back when he used to make a lot of content in his long form podcasts. Who cares? The fact that people care about other people's clothes and this and that, it's just so weird to me. I don't know, it's so weird. I'm the guy who will go into the steakhouse wearing my Java Akuma shirt, wearing my same $15 pair of athletic shorts that I played basketball and racquetball in college. I mow my lawn in sandals. I'm wearing sandals right now. I'm wearing like a $14 pair of sandals that I bought off Amazon that's very comfortable, that I mow my lawn in, that I do like all kinds of outdoor yard work in. I've run a chainsaw on these things, probably not OSHA approved, but yeah, $14 flip-flops to, not flip-flops, not the toe thong ones, I don't like those. The ones with the band that all your toes go under. The regular foot strap things. People talking about Crocs. Brad currently disassembling the tent where he used to reside. If people interpret all of our interactions in that he's living rent-free in my head, okay, that is an interpretation. That is what you think. That you're entitled to think that. But who's in whose live chats? Who's replying to whose discords? I mean, what are we actually talking about here? Let's look at the cold hard evidence. I would wager that Brad thinks about me more than I think about him. Brad is getting tore up. He might have actually gone to bed back when he got what do the kids say? Back when he got cooked. I think I cooked him pretty decently, and I think he might have turned into bed. So I need to stop beating the dead horse that is Brad G Cards. I need to stop tearing him up. But I would say it's earned. I would say it's deserved. Over the Avias, fine, I'll buy Avias. I need to get an affiliate link for Avias. I do actually have Amazon affiliate links. I buy those at Walmart, though. I buy a nice prime ribeye, and then I go down aisle 58, and I buy some Avias. I have no idea what aisle it actually is. Retro, if you think there are people that don't have $200 shoes that will have, as a good little consumer, they will have credit card debt from the time they're 20 to the time they're 80 when they die. They will have credit card debt the whole time, and they will have fresh new $200 shoes the whole time. Money is fungible. Like, you could say, oh no, I didn't spend that $200 on this. That's one thing I know people have done, and I'm not going to get too specific because they're not going to watch the video, but they would know. One of the worst things you can do if you know someone in your life that is bad with money is give them money. Money does not fix money problems. The only way it could is if you have so much that you can just subsidize their lifestyle forever. But people don't know the word enough. People think more, more, more. People want more, more, more. So the second someone starts having to lean on like consumer debt to fund their lifestyle, and the second they go to someone in their life and they say, my car needs brakes. I need to eat this week. I need to pay rent. I need to fill my propane tank with gas. I need to heat my house this winter. You're not paying for their heat. You're not paying for their food. You're not paying for their rent. You're paying for the worst, most irresponsible decisions they've made with their money. So I know of people, family, friends, old coworkers, every which way. Like, this is talking about just a certain type of people, not individual people, though many individual people I know in my real life fit this bill. I know people who are just leeches on others, the loved ones. They love them so much that, hey, just subsidize my lifestyle. Live in a lower lifestyle for the rest of your life so that you can subsidize mine. And the guilt comes from, like, pay for my food. Pay for my this. Money's fungible. So when you give them $80 for food and they do buy $80 worth of groceries with it, but they also yesterday got an $80 manicure. They also bought an $80 t-shirt they didn't need. Or, like, that's what gets me. That stuff that I see anecdotally in my own thing, that exists, though. Those people are out there. And worse than that, they're like doing it with other people's money. Maybe I'm the exception. Maybe everyone is rich. I've heard some people saying everyone in Pokemon has so much money and all this stuff. Like, maybe everyone does. Maybe no one has credit card debt. Pokemon is just like, Pokemon is selected for the absolute, like, 1%. We're all 1%ers in here. Everyone's got money. So maybe I need a finance channel so I can talk to broke people, because there's none in or around here anywhere. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. Why is Dan on IPA mode? It's not getting any better. This was 25 minutes ago and it's not getting any better. Brad's here talking to me, so I'm talking back to him. I'm sharing stories about him. God. Pretty real in here for a Wednesday night. I don't know what I was saying 25 minutes ago, but that's how far I am behind right now. Are you in a stable home? No, it's too large. What? I'm here for the car making people broke talk. I'm in California where you can go broke not having a nice car or nice house. So leave California. The country's big. Like, well, my American dream is going to this college and driving this car and living in this neighborhood. That's my American dream. So yes, the American dream is dead because I want all that and I'm entitled to it. The American dream does not mean you can have anything. If you do the work required to get it, you can. Like, there's certain metrics, the mobility, the economic mobility. It could be better, but it could be a lot worse too. And there's a lot of countries and there's a lot of eras in this same United States where it was not as good as it is. All Dan's stories start 10 years ago when he was in college. Crazy. 10 years ago, I graduated from my master's in... When did I graduate from my master's? Well, I graduated from college 13 years ago, so I was not in regular college. I graduated from my master's 4 years ago during COVID. Way to send Dan on a 30-minute rant. Nice to see you. Somehow we ripped Old Skool Pokemon away from eBay Live. Shout out to that. Dan wouldn't need shoes often if he didn't stomp around and mumble fee fi fo fum. Oh man. Yeah, so me personally, I would say that I did pay off a 3% mortgage, but generally speaking, I like, personal finance is very personal. So I would say, generally speaking, this is like the rubric, and that's what I did in my video a couple of videos ago. I did the general rubric, but then I'm gonna show like my rubric, and I like, it's reasonable for people to have different scenarios. Like I think Dave Ramsey and maybe even the money guys, I think they get too rigid. This is a one-size-fits-all. Everyone has to do this. I'm not that way. It's like, this is generally what most people say. This is what Dave Ramsey says. This is what the money guy says. This is what Caleb Hammer says. This is what I do, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should do. Like, I think there's some merit to all of them. I think there will be some merit to mine, obviously. I think there's a lot of merit for mine for me personally, but personal finance is very personal. Get him, Dan. Again, I don't know what I was saying 20 minutes ago, but I was getting him. I was getting him. US. We got Eagles and Rockets. Walrus called me a Nepo baby. The only employer I worked for before I worked for like the company I started with out of college, I worked for my dad. So like I definitely did benefit from my dad having a job that I could learn a lot of useful skills in. Like, I have no shame in telling everyone exactly how I got my journey. Like, if people care to hear my journey, I will share exactly how I got to where I was. Some people would take that and, oh, well, you had so much and this and that and you had more than me, and so I'm not going to listen to you because you had more than me. You can do that your whole life, see how far it gets you. A lot of people take that route. But it's like, I had what I had. I'm not ashamed of any of it. I will share it with whoever cares to ask about it. And I had what I had. I made what I made. And that's just, it just is. It just is. Is it just, is it, it just is. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Did you have less? Were you, it doesn't matter. What, like, you were dealt certain cards, you play them. Some people throw their cards in the air, try to flip the table over. It doesn't get them very far. But, and I know Walrus is being Walrus and poking, and, but, let me, let's see. Mario Alfonso would love to draw up house plans. I'm 20 years away, so hit me up in 20 years. Does anyone have YouTube channel recommendations? for learning how to edit. Definitely not this one. Definitely not this one. I will make a finance channel with very minimal edits. I'm doing the Opus thing now. Dan, did you know personal finance YouTube has like 10 plus CPM? My CPM is better than that. My CPM is very, very high. And one thing that I do, when I do a live stream and it posts like a day later with all the ads, I delete out like 60% of the ads minimum. There are times where it will take a 3-hour long video and it will put ads every 5 minutes. I make the ads no more than every 20 or 30 minutes. So I had, let me see what I'm so bad navigating through the analytics in YouTube, but my CPM I want to say is like high teens. I could be wrong. It could have changed since. Where do I find it? Revenue. So CPM is like earnings per 1,000 views. Let me see. I don't know where to find it. So I made, I'll just share it because I don't care. Like if people ask me questions, and this wasn't even a question, this is just me sharing. So I had $128 in the past 28 days, and I had 23,000 views. So 128, I guess that's not that high. I've definitely had higher than that though. So that's only $5 per 1,000 views. I've definitely had, maybe the only stretches where I've had significantly higher was when I was getting like a lot of gifted memberships or something. I know that there's been stretches. Maybe it's just been individual videos. I've definitely had times where it's been in the teens though, but maybe that was just short stretches. I honestly thought it was more than that. So I'm about $5 CPM. $10 plus CPM, I guess, is double then. I gotta get over there. I don't think I'll have $10 CPM. Nice to see you, Zach, in here. How's it going? Gemmin, don't watch this. It's just Dan doing a character assassination of a fellow good homie. Brad was a good man. He will be greatly missed. Oh my god. Brad likes Charizard. Dan likes Charmander. No contest. Oh man, that's funny. I already said everyone else's names earlier. I showed the pictures, and I'm not going to try listing everyone that was there because I'm going to miss somebody and I'm going to feel bad. So I listed like 2 or 3 people, and that was it. Brad pokes, I poke back. I can't help it that I'm better at it, I guess. I guess I'm just better at it. You should go back to the Cortezes. Too much money, and my newer shoes last longer, less than half the cost now. I think when I started buying Cortezes, they were 40, and then they were like 70 by the end. But I buy $20 to $30 shoes now. They last longer and they're more comfortable. It's like what are we doing here? Brad G Cards is still typing. Brad, say anything. Brad's got to be sleeping by now. He's got an easy excuse. He can say he was sleeping. Capital One is really good if you want to consolidate. I just want to go with, I kind of want to get a national, so talking about consolidating, I almost want to diversify my banks. I have a local credit union. They're not great with certain things. When I go to a convention, I can't, there's no branch in any other cities that they're local to me. I might get like a Chase bank account. So have a Chase, have my credit union, have like 2 credit cards, but like I don't need, I have a Robinhood account with like $2,000 in it. I had the Yada account with 10 grand in it. Do I still have it? Do I not have it? I have no idea. I have a Discover savings account with like $1,500 in it. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I need to just have a Chase, have my credit union, and then have like the checking and savings in each, have a couple credit cards, diversify your credit cards, because if all you had was Amex, you're out of luck. All my credit cards are MasterCard. I have no Visas. And I have no Visas. I have all MasterCards, and then the Amex. Costco will only take Visas. So when I go to Costco, I've got to use cash because they don't take MasterCard or Amex. I don't hate Brad by any means. Brad gives me the most crap, so I give him the most crap back, and it is what it is. Oh man, nice to see you in here. I'm not trying to pull honeys. I'm not trying to pull honeys. That's a big part of it. Like, even back in college though, like even back in college, I was not a brand wearer. I guess I attracted a similar to me, a pretty good with finances person, someone who's not like all consumeristic, the brands and has to have the labels and super flashy. Like we mesh together very well financially and in many other ways. So. LMAO, clip it. I don't know what I said. Tag me in the clip in Discord. I need to see what I said 14 minutes ago. Do I sell my Slugma PSA 9 to pay my water bill? Well, if your Slugmas are in a higher bucket, it's all about your financial order of operations. If fiery slugs are above water, then no, you don't. If water is above fiery slugs, then yes, you do. It's very easy. Very easy. Retro's 100% tripping. There's tons of people that are paycheck to paycheck by their own doing, and they blame the government. They blame whoever they want to blame. Correct. Turn the water off. Unlimited grails are better than bathing. I mean, water comes for free from the sky. Do fiery slugs come for free from the sky? Think about it. Think about it. I'm gonna die with money in my bank account. Why not spend it now? YOLO, right? YOLO. Do whatever you want to do. Like, I don't care. A lot of people will live their whole lives spending every dollar as if it's their last day. And they'll have, and some people do that and don't have stress. Like, some people just wing it. They don't have any stress about it. I just know too many people that spend as if it's their last day. And then when they wake up the next day, there's a lot of stress there. There's a lot of financial stress there. And I think, I'm not going to tell them what to do. I think they could be better suited saving up a little bit. I think they could be better suited rearranging their financial buckets. I might be wrong though. Like, who the hell cares? If people don't want to help themselves, if they think they don't need help, you can't help them anyway. So it's like, who cares? Who cares? Do what you want to do. Oh, man. If you don't die with debt, you did it wrong. Oh, man. I'm almost caught up the chat. And that's the thing. Like, I guess I'm lucky, I'm privileged to have not been born to where, like, I don't desire Yeezys. I could have Yeezys. I could have a Mercedes. Instead I have a Kia and Avias. Through the fact that I have a Kia and Avias, I'm able to, like, have a lot more money. And financial independence is within sight of me. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, where I have, per the 4% rule, 3% rule, like X multiples of my annual spending. I mean, as long as nothing crazy happens, as long as health, whatever, that doesn't strike me in a bad way, or the markets are, I will, in my late 30s, mid-late 30s, have financial independence. And I wouldn't have been able to have those if I valued and needed the Yeezys and the Supremes and the Oakleys and the this and that. But, like, if that's what you care about and that's what you want and that's what actually brings you the joy, like money is a tool. If your sole desire is to have all these material things, like, absolutely do it. Who am I to say, like, look at all these material things behind me? But my primary thing in life is, like, freedom. I don't care about the labels. Travel's a big one. Like, I want to be able to travel, see the country, maybe see the world someday. But anyways, continuing on. You often talk about the concept of enough. How many GB Kairu is enough? 0 for me. Caleb Hammer is so goated. God bless the plug, Dan. I like overall. Watching it, like, over and over again. I watched it for a stretch. I probably watched like 7 or 8 different ones. it's an interesting thing. He does it his way. If I did it, I would never grow to that size, and I would never have the ability to do what he's doing. But I feel like I do certain things different. Like, I have critiques of it, as anyone probably would. But it seems to be actually helping people. I watched a couple of his follow-ups. He has a new follow-up channel now, and it's great. It entertains some people. It helps some people. There's probably some amount of, like, haters there. There's probably some amount of people in his comments, in his chat. Like, what are they doing? They're just wasting their time. Do they actually get joy out of it? Maybe they're just memeing. Maybe they actually hate it. It's like, don't spend time in places that you don't have fun being in. Like, don't... If this content actually sucks that bad and you actually hate it, don't engage with it. Don't be here. Don't waste your time. Same thing goes for anyone's content. Yeah, soda's bad. Soda is a bad vice of mine. I don't drink a ton of it. This is my first soda in 4 days, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I did have a soda yesterday on lunch, but I'll have it a couple days in a row. Some days I might have two. On average, I actually just had a doctor's appointment recently, and I talked about my weight loss journey, and he saw that I was down a little bit of weight, and I told my doctor, I said, if I am not 220 next year, give me hell for it. I said, write that in my chart. If I'm not, I'm 240, well, 235 to 240, depending on the day. I've plateaued. I set my SMART goal, April 1st, 240. I hit 235 to 240, and I've lived here. I've lived here for the past 2 months. I've gotten complacent. I will hit, though, by the end of the year, 225, 220, whatever I said. I told my doctor that I told my Instagram, I told my YouTube. I said I have people keeping me accountable, but I told them how I plateaued. I know what I got to do. I told them about the IPAs. I told them about the chicken wings. I told them about the Coke. I said I'm not going to get rid of any of them, but I'm going to limit them. Absolutely. I should not consume any of those things, but I like them. They bring me some amount of joy, and it's moderation. It's all moderation. Like, if you could distill down, like, 3 or 4, 5 major concepts, major words that you need to just adhere to in life. One of them, I don't know what they all would be, like the Mount Rushmore of words that to live by in life. One of the Mount Rushmore words, in my opinion, would be moderation. Whatever it is you're talking about, moderation. And obviously there's a lot of nuance to that. There's a lot of depending on what we're talking about, but moderation will not steer you wrong in life. We don't need to hear the journey, Dan. We're here for the Team Rocket set. That's the thing. Like, there were 100 videos dropped in the past 24 hours about the Team Rocket set. I gave my little spiel about it for 5 or 10 minutes. 2.5 hours later, I'm talking about all this kind of stuff. This is what my channel is. If it's not for you, there's other ones out there. Like that's like money, even more so than money. Time is. Weird to say time is a tool, but to some extent, you choose to spend your time on certain things. Please do not spend your time here if it is not bringing positive things to you. Please do not do that. Do not hate watch. Do not be here if you're not having a good time. I know Brad and I have our little thing going. I think it's a positive thing. We get together in real life. He might take a picture of my shoes and post it on Instagram, but we get along well. We have conversations. We're civil. We're actually not enemies by any extent, unless maybe, I don't know, maybe his perspective is different. But I'll wait till he starts doing lives on YouTube, and I'll go talk to him there and see how it goes. By the time I finish learning how to read Japanese, will the market still want the cards? Yes. An ad every 20 minutes would make me unsub. Yes, I have YouTube Premium as well. Business expense if you do YouTube as business. So, tax advice. So, the old card shop would rather be homeless than watch YouTube without premium. So, YouTube Premium is a bucket in the financial order of operations. YouTube Premium is here. Housing is here. And that's fine. Conscious spending. He spends where he gets value. That's all I ask people to do. Dan, start stream. Yeah, I bet my dad could beat Brad up easy. He welds and stuff. So Oh man, I love my YouTube live community. I love my YouTube live chats, but it's something. It's something for sure. I don't know what it is, but it's surely something. Avias plus Kia equals financial freedom. Got it. I was blessed to be born. I was blessed to not be born fashionable whatsoever. Like I don't know if that's a gene. I don't know what that is. I'm glad I don't have it. Like I'm glad that I am not. I guess I'm a slave consumer to all this. Like I have to buy. I have to have. I'm glad I don't have to have it with like clothes and fancy cars. And I'm utility when it comes to that. Avias are definitely a dad shoe. Avia's like 3 levels. It's like a C tier dad shoe as far as I understand. I'm gonna be 220 by the end of the year. So if I do that based on 2 wings, talking about finances, so much about fitness and health and like so much about your weight is very similar to your finances. I mean, it's the incomes and the outcomes. You can control both. It's like you either need to earn more or spend less or both. I either need to burn more calories, consume less, or ideally some combination of both. And just like finances, a lot of people blame external things that aren't the reason. I know. I told my doctor. I said, I know what I have to do. I have to exercise more. I have to eat a little more fruits, eat a little more veggies, eat a little less wings, a little less IPAs, a little less Coca-Colas. And I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna blame whatever external thing people like to blame, because that's another one. That's another one where people will just blame some external thing. And tying in finances with the whole weight thing, with the obesity epidemic we have in America, people talk about how it's cheaper. It's cheaper to buy fast food. It's cheaper to buy greasy stuff, nasty prepackaged processed stuff at the store. You buy a bag of Cheetos, you buy Coca-Cola, what are we talking about? Water's really cheap. It's free. I open a faucet, it comes out for free. I can drink that all day for free. And if you don't have well water, maybe you're paying X amount of cents per thousand, whatever it is. Water's pretty cheap relative to soda. You want to compare beans and rice? You want to compare like just simple staples like chicken breast, $1.99 a pound, $2.99 a pound. What are we talking about? You buy Cheetos, it's a 10-ounce bag, inflated this big, and it's $7. And people buy that kind of stuff. Oh, well, it's too expensive to eat healthy. What are we talking about? Like, those are the kinds of things. The American dream is dead. It's too expensive to eat healthy. And then the people are like, yeah, I'm almost wrapping up here, but the light should have been red for almost the whole thing. Moderation, you just admitted you're not at a good weight. How's that moderation working? So I am 235 to 240. Back when I started the year, I was 250, 255. I've dropped 15 pounds. I will drop another 30 pounds. No, 20 pounds by the end of the year. So it's working. It's just I've plateaued and I've gotten complacent. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to eat less. Like, it's working. It's literally the outcome of what I have going on is the sum of all my inputs. There's nothing to blame externally. Like, yeah, I need to be better overall on the caloric deficit, but I've started. Like, I don't know what we're talking about here. Retro is almost Brad low-key. Oh, Retro, absolutely. Retro is one of those ones too. If you poke him the wrong way, he can. He might end up going to bed too if I poked him the wrong way. I think there's been a time or two that I put Brad to bed early on this stream, poking him a little too much. I might have put Retro to bed early before on a stream before too. I am gonna wrap up now soon. Oh, I'm seeing DMs. Let's see where we're at. I've never seen Retro and Brad in the same room. We vended next to each other at Fort Worth. So I am fully caught up now. Yes, people like you. I don't know what I said. I'm not claiming to be a victim of anything financially or like by my weight. I know exactly why I weigh what I weigh. It's because it's the equilibrium point of my caloric intake and my caloric burning, all that stuff. My plan is to get to 220 by the end of the year. My plan is when I'm not working night shift to like up the exercise. I miss exercise. I missed playing organized sports. That's the thing. The single thing I missed most from college and high school is organized sports. I always ate like crap. I always ate what I really enjoyed, and it's catching up with me now that I'm not as active. So I need to eat a little bit better. And yeah, like I'm owning that process. So I'm going to get to 220, see how I feel, see how everything goes, see how my clothes fit, see how the Avias fit and the cheap Walmart t-shirts fit. And then I'll recalculate and recalibrate from there. But I appreciate everyone. I don't know how you made it 2 hours and 45 minutes through. But yeah, personal responsibility, financial advice, tax advice, Team Rocket set, New Jersey Collecticon, Orlando Collecticon. What did we not cover tonight? What did we not cover? We put Brad to bed early. It was a good night. It was a good night. I appreciate everyone watching.